Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock on a busy afternoon here. Lots of things moving around, lots of things to discuss. Let's jump right into. I was just looking at the 30-year yields back to the upside here ever since equities started trading this morning around 9:30. It was a bit of a bounce. We did start the day for the third day in a row. Across the board, some decent negative action for yields, but back to the upside. This is the dollar right now, a bit of a doji candle forming, but it is green on the day still. Not a lot to look at as far as that is concerned. The US 10 year is back to the upside right now as well. As I mentioned, reversing that early move back to 4.04, 4.08. Currently, Frank Caberna coming up this afternoon. We'll get his take on not only what's to come tomorrow, mostly what's to come tomorrow, but also remember non-farm payrolls at the end of the week as well. We'll get the, what is that, January number for non-farm payrolls. Crazy, this month is over already. Decent rotation into banks today. So a lot of positive numbers. I'll show you the board here in a second, but a lot of positive numbers in the banking group. Decent relative volume if you look at the bottom here as well compared to just the last couple of days. Banks very strong, heading back towards highs right now for BAC. But yeah, JP Morgan 2%, Berkshire up there full percent as well. There's Goldman 1.5%, Citigroup down there 5.25% to the upside. So money out of tech and into some financials possibly. Ahead of, yeah, AMD to come after the close today. We'll talk about that here coming up, but absolute steep sell-off into earnings for AMD, 4%. Apple, I saw the first review video over lunch of the Vision Pro headset. There's a lot that comes in the box. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, go watch them. They are already on YouTube. Netflix, not right now though, stay here right now, don't go anywhere, do that later. Netflix 2.25% downside, Adobe, Intuit, and Google kind of rounding things out under a bit of pressure. Yeah, this Remark still bouncing around between 70 and 80 cents. Just crazy volume on Remark Holdings. Wanted to mention this real quick as well. So we get that non-farm number coming up at the end of the week. Remember this morning we got this 9 million on the job openings number for December versus an 8.6 million print expected. So higher as well for the conference boards. Consumer confidence index for January 114.8 versus 114. That was expected. So both to the upside this morning in a pretty big way. Yeah, AMD definitely not to the upside heading into earnings. Let's talk about what we were discussing. If you're with us in the pre-market this morning, make sure you're with us every day. Starting at 8:30, we get you ready for the open. It was semiconductors, top of the list. And wow, just straight downside, guys, right out of the gate.
You think, bro. Yeah, just starting out right now. Just welcome back, guys, by the way. Show that to Brendan, Sharif. We have 5 now trades, all more than $1 in the money. We've got Apple short. That's from the beginning of the time of the day. That's $2 now in the money. I mean, that's the beginning of that move down. We've got Affirm is $1 in the money as that keeps on going to the downside. We've got ARM. Actually, I lied. We're going to have 6 names. All 6 names, $1 in the money. ARM, $1 in the money to the downside. Google, $1 in the money to the downside, $1.13. Meta, the sole long right now, long $1.70 in the money on the long. And then Microsoft is the one ho-hum, 40 cents in the money short. So wow, if you're just coming back now from some kind of a lunch break, yeah, you missed quite the aggressive moves down on everything. And I mean, talked about semis rallying. We tweeted this out, man. We were long, until we were like, what? So there's the long. This is loss. Remember we were trying to defend this 175? That's fine. It's fine. That lost on that one, but then we started to come back up and look at all of these aggressive shorts in here. Clubbed down, that's 173.50. That fill rate there is 170.50. That's $3. We're light on all these things now, but yeah, everything just turned around. And I don't know if it started with this or not, but we went short Apple. And Apple really was the the one for me here. My number 1 stock on the day will be Meta, I guess, and that was just buying off this 400 dip, like as if that held right there, like huge move up to 402. So anyways, super exciting. afternoon. And if this is what the rest of the week is going to look like, sign me up, as we're getting more and more juicy to the downside right now, as Microsoft 50 cents and now AMD almost $3, Apple $2.50. I don't know, Neil. This has been such a great day.
So look, the crazy thing is everyone kept talking about, and there's nothing wrong with Google. Google is a fantastic company, and Microsoft, they're big names, man. There's no question about it. What are we calling them now? The big, whatever. It's not the Mag 7 now. It's the something 6.
The Super 6.
The Super 6. It doesn't matter. It's the chip names that have made the bigger rallies. And when you got SMCI last night, and then you got AMD aftermarket today, we'll see what happens. But the volatility is over there. We'll get to Mark at some point. Remark, I should say. If I say Mark, okay, he's like standing right over there. So apologies in advance, Mark, but there's a stock, the symbol's name is Mark, and we're gonna have to talk about it this afternoon. But I've been short. Like, Intel, to me, had a pile of crap for its earnings report, and you can see by the price action, whoops, maybe you can't because I'm on the wrong chart. You can see by the price action that it was pretty darn nasty. There's absolutely, well, okay, there's almost no way that I would have expected AMD to do what it did. The only thing that's good about Intel is it's not making fresh lows this entire move. So I've been shorted all day, and yes, you've been still able to get something out of it, shorting lower highs, but it's holding out the 43 bottom on Intel. This entire leg down of the futures, it's been a scalp trade. It doesn't seem to want to go any lower. So gotta have this in the back of my mind. After earnings on AMD, regardless of what happens, let's just imagine that they continue to fall, okay, just because right now it's going down. Then my thought would be if Intel could weather the storm and not break its post-earnings low, regardless what happens to AMD tonight, I think that could be a nice level. I just want to see it hold it. I'm not thinking longs on Intel yet. But given the price action in every other chip name and the fact that it won't budge past more than 1.5% to 2% down and it wants to hold this recent bottom, that could be a sign for a turn for this name, just this name. They've already had their earnings, they've already had their flush. If they can hold the bottom on any kind of a dip tomorrow or I guess tonight on AMD, then Intel becomes a possible long. I know we've been thinking short this for a few days now, but a possible long given what I'm seeing hold at this 43.
All right, let's talk some GM. I wanted to mention, actually, before we do that, Block, there was some job cuts announced, 1,000 employees being laid off by SQ. That was just right before 2 o'clock when we came on, so it did move a little bit there on that. It's 1,000 jobs being cut from SQ. Apple day lows right now, pressuring the market as well, back to session lows right now. Again, I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that the Vision Pro is being reviewed already ahead of Friday's debut. Apparently it's going to be February 2nd in store, but a lot of the tech reviewers online already have them, obviously.
Yeah.
There was, okay, off I was going to mention, there was this well-known Apple analyst this morning that came out as well and said that their iPhone shipments this year, not going to be good.
No, down 15% they're predicting for 2024. With respect to the review of the Vision Pro, this was widely speculated that would be like the first gen would have a lot of glitches and a lot to be desired. It would be the second and third gen when they really perfected the product. That's not unusual for Apple. Just recall how the Apple Watch came out. First gen was, a little bit tepid, then it incrementally got better every release.
Yeah, 180 inbound, or that's maybe the next level here, guys, for Apple.
So, well, okay, so we said 180 before, but I just want to point something out. Like when it got to 180 on the daily chart before, that was the 200 period moving average. It's not anymore. So like if it pulls back to the 200 period and makes higher lows, that looks like 182 to me. So that's where the first place I'm looking is going to be that 200 period. That was the reason back then why I liked 180, because we'll see. I don't know if it gets there again. Probably should have reloaded Apple. Sharif was saying Apple was boring in the middle of the day, but it did this. I just like this one trade because for a half an hour, it held 190. And I mean 189 clean for about a half an hour. And then the last time it made the quick, it bounced off a buck. So that was my cue to take it out for what ended up being like a range bound trade. But yeah, I would tend to think 180. Why not? Why wouldn't it head to the 200 period moving average? It did it before. It's rejecting the $200 level. It makes some sense to me. And for anybody, I know it says GM there, GM beat. GM didn't break the range one way or the other. I double checked to see if Ford did anything. It didn't do anything either.
There we go. So there's reasons why at the beginning of the day I was like, I won't be trading GM, and I don't know, Ford we didn't get on there. But look at this Apple trade, man, where it's 250 in the money. Just play the momentum. Like, it started to break down there. We broke that 190, we played it, and now you're all the way to the bottom. I don't know. I was gonna ask you guys, like, where am I gonna cover? Like, this is 250 in the money. The Affirm is $1 now in the money. I think Affirm we could probably cover down here maybe. That's $1 now. AMD is now $3 in the money. Like, do we cover 170 or do we hold? ARM now $1. Like, look at this ARM trade. Breaking the low of the day. Are you kidding me right now? Can ARM become my new favorite stock? Maybe. Google right now too, $1.30 in the money and at the bottom of the day. The only thing that I'm worried about is maybe this Meta trade, but we only have 10% of this one, and if this comes back in, even better for us. Here goes Microsoft as well. We'll talk about Microsoft, we'll talk about all this stuff, but Microsoft's coming in again right now. Look at all of these shorts. Short, again, we were long, got killed, then all of these shorts again, right back in, now trying to get down to these levels. So we're bidding 407 and change. We're short 408, we're short right now 408.15. So it's 80 cents, trying to get a little bit lower here. Come on, softy. I'm bidding 407 flattish. Let's see if we can get that fill. Ooh, man. Oh, by the way, also, we just put this here. We put this in the chat, but if anybody missed, we're going to have a new segment here coming up very, very soon. It'll be this. New dad jokes of the day right here. So you can go find this right now on Instagram. There's the bull. Today we should put a bear on that one. I want to shout out to my wife for creating this again, but that was just fantastic. There it is. So the Bulls versus Bears. He'll be tweeting that out as well. So there it is right there, the dad joke of the day. Go find it on Instagram.
All right, let's talk Tesla. We did get that nice gap to the upside of this morning. Tested 195, 196 even at the highs before it's been a bit of a fade. Maybe a result of the overall move in the market, but still positive here. So relatively strong across the board today.
Yeah, it was an interesting look for Tesla. I mean, I don't really have a specific headline for it, just that BYD reported. BYD, obviously Tesla's biggest competitor worldwide, having overtaken them for total deliveries, but Tesla's still producing more EVs. I won't belabor the point, but BYD did project some downturn in 2024 for some EVs.
Yeah, I mean, the move itself may be constructive if you look at the daily chart a little bit, but still right back to where we ended yesterday, essentially, here for Tesla.
I didn't trade, I mean, obviously, I trade Lucid this morning, and I'm in Nikola right now, Nikola being Nikola. But Lucid was just, we talked about this in the midday when I came on. It was a squeeze yesterday, it was a squeeze again today. The only bad thing is it just gave up that 360 level. So breakout, double top, this is not that complicated. Let me just zoom it out a little bit more so you can, that won't even let me zoom. There you go. So there's your double top, break 340. Remember in the afternoon we were shorting at 339, not the time, but the dollar price, because that was the double top. Today we went long on the break. It did turn around at 75, missed the first dip back into VWAP, but then when 360 held, and I'll show you why we like 360, that popped back into the 75 top. I tried reloading it in there, held some support, and then it couldn't hold on. It actually is now above VWAP, so I think this could still be valid, but the market's a little bit heavy. So I want to be patient with any dip buys. And if you wonder where the 360 level comes from, then you might have forgotten about the flat bottom break on the daily, where this move accelerated to the downside. So key levels abound on Lucid. It's strong, but let's be real, it's a squeeze name. Sometimes when the market is weak or flushing, the best long opportunities are going to be in things that are going for their own reasons. In this particular case, 27% short float. Nikola, on the other hand, is down on the day. It kind of popped a little bit. I mean, it made a move yesterday, but then the difference was it couldn't take out the highs today. So shorted the first lower high available, which any guesses on a 15-minute chart you can't tell, but most of you should be able to know that that short is off of VWAP on Nikola. So Nikola essentially made a low, pulled into VWAP, couldn't break it, and then shorted off of VWAP. So if you can't find the trend and you want to join it, sometimes during lunchtime, actually we have scanners for this on Trade Ideas for anyone that wants to check it out. Anyone can have one of our layouts. And it is pull back into prior resistance, there's pullback into VWAP in case you happen not to be watching a stock when it happens.
that AMD went $3 again, but I don't know. I want to hold on to it. Okay. I had bids on Tesla and I didn't. PayPal's rocking. I like that, Nimit. Shout out to Nimit. What's up, my guy over there? Next time I'm in Singapore, whenever the heck that is, we'll come see you. But look at this, the 50-period moving average on Tesla. We're really trying to respect that right now at 191. I was very, very close to taking that trade and didn't. So that could be something there. 190, I guess 190 break. I'm going to stay away from it. We just recently bought Tesla at 186, or 186, right? Wait a second, 186. That's the same price I bought at. That's literally, wow, okay. That's the same price I bought Apple at, 186 flat. So, okay. Both stocks, maybe that's weird that happened, and now Apple's all the way back in. Would really like Apple to go back up, but we're still 250 in the money on this one. Oh, I do have a trade on Affirm. If we break this 80 level right here, we're going to get out. So it's $1 for now. But anyways, that Tesla trade, I still think you want to go long. What I was getting at there was, here's 191. It coincides with this 50-period moving average. So that's 190.30. I feel like if it gets back in there, you take it against 190. But right now, you're up to 192. So it feels a little silly to possibly short Tesla as it's up today. So if the market gets going, this name will just keep going. So you either got to go long down here where we've seen some support, maybe even 191. I mean, you're getting into that there now as well. So Tesla continues to work. Congratulations if you grabbed anything short on this name here today. But I still prefer the long. Again, we'll play relative strength. We know what we do best, and we got to wait for Tesla to come in.
All right, let's talk Microsoft and Google just real quick. Square was the one we discussed on the layoffs when that was announced right at 2 o'clock right here. There was a bit of a spike back to the upside. Now PayPal follows suit, I just saw, with its own round of layoffs. I didn't see a number yet, but PayPal also making a move on that, a little bit bigger. Right back down though to negative anyways, went positive there quickly. On decent volume, again, some layoffs coming through for both now, Block and PayPal. But yeah, let's talk Microsoft and Google here coming up tonight.
Yeah, they're both reporting after the bell today, so make sure to check out the Market Recap Show with Sean because they'll be reporting live there. Look, Google widely expected to be reporting about 85.33 billion in revenue. Microsoft about 61.1 billion in revenue. So we'll have to see whether it's a beat or a miss and what the guide is specifically with respect to AI. We want to see about monetization of artificial intelligence, Brendo.
Yeah, it'll be spicy after the close tonight. Make sure you're with Sean for that. I just double checking on this PayPal note. There's no, I don't actually see a number attached to it, but just begins company-wide layoffs for PayPal.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure about this, but I was just saying to Sean, I feel like I remember PayPal announcing there were going to be layoffs, and then I don't remember, like not a long time ago, but recently, and maybe they're starting layoffs that were already announced. I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that thinks that I have one trade in Microsoft, and I'll talk about Mark. Microsoft, it'll suck for me today because I was looking for a dip buy all morning, and sometimes you just wish the dip buy didn't get to the level. This would be hard to see, but if you go back to yesterday at about 3 o'clock, remember at 3 o'clock when there was that Treasury news and all that good stuff happened to the upside? Like Microsoft was right here, just underneath. It's like about 407.80 something, call it 408. So fast forward to today when it looks like it's holding that level. It bounces off at once. I came in, went for the long, and then immediately it stopped out there for me. So it was kind of a one and done on Microsoft looking for that dip buy. A lot of times the dip buy is better if it comes early. The news, only reason I'm going to mention Mark now is because Remark has a potential deal. It's like an AI collaboration, $80 million, which is not a lot for Microsoft, but it's a big deal for Mark apparently. Remark, and it got a set 8% short float. So what it did, I missed the 50 break for a double top break. That's kind of a little mini squeeze. Then it made another double top at 58 for a breakout. That carried 10 cents. It ended up going more. You could have had like 20-something% on that. Then there was this hammer at 80 cents. That was a huge rejection of the double top break. Shorted it. I'm going to stop out this at about 77 break even. I was looking for VWAP on the last little bit, but it's giving you 10% moves like they're butter on Remark right now. Short float, good volume. It's Microsoft for a catalyst. $80 million contract, as I said, or partnership. Not a big deal for most companies, but When your market cap is $15 million, then it matters to you.
So we'll just hit 2,000 points on Streamlabs, but who gives a crap about that because we're dealing with real shit right here. Look at AMD, man. Nice downside move. Now 350 in the money and starting to break. It just broke. Thank you, Sharif. It just broke 170 right there. 350 now in the money on that name because we're talking about Microsoft and Google. Oh, I wanted to show you. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls. Thanks for the trophy there. First of all, check out the podcast. That's pretty interesting. Me and Brendan had a great time talking all about these earnings and everything. Go check it out. It's the best hour you'll spend anywhere, of course. And you can see right here, there it is, sticky note. So sticky note today had Microsoft long 408. Okay, so it's that same trade again. So long 408, and then you're going to be able to see. Let's go over to Microsoft and talk about this. Here's the long 408. So Microsoft came in, and it was coming in pretty quickly there. We first started, and I think we did pretty good. That first take is 408.25. We bought some more 408s. Then once it dumped into 407.50, it was horrible. We got stopped out. Then we tried it again at 407, got stopped out. Then as it came back up, we started shorting it. Then we started shorting it again, and then we just shorted it again. So I say this on the chat, or on the tweet that I just put about AMD. It's the same trade, man. Just have the ability to flip it over and go the other way. We've been shorting Google all morning. This is going to be, just want to look at the net here. It looks like probably Apple will be the #1 net, but this is not far away. It's Google. Oh, there we go. We just got stopped out taking 152.10. So there it is. So that's why my net was like back and forth. It's actually Meta is going to be #1, but Google's #2. So that's a nice trade there. As, again, join me and Brian Shannon after market. Look at that. That's a VWAP trade. VWAP bang to the downside. So that's a good one, man. We're really cruising here. I just don't know what to do with AMD bouncing around this 170, takes them out or not. Meta also. Do we have Meta coming up soon? No, we do not. Look at this Meta trade off that bottom, 400 right there, now at 402. All right, we got a couple good longs. We got a couple good trades. Let's go back to the desk and wrap this up with China weakness.
China a little bit boring today. It's been negative all day long. There was a move back to 73, or an attempt anyways, at 73 for BABA today, but it was just a drift down as soon as the sell-off came. I mean, more real estate worries over in China were announced overnight. Markets over there were down as well.
Yeah, Evergrande being forced by a Hong Kong court to liquidate its assets, and the market did not take kindly to that. The majority of Chinese ADRs all right on the day.
Yeah, so not really exciting as far as price action, but any trades, guys?
Nope. I mean, I was just like, I pulled up Alibaba to see what was up, and I pulled up NEO, and the first thing I noticed is like the bid on NEO is pretty darn thick at 585 and 586, this recent bottom. So this might be the one to watch because it's gotten the crap kicked out of it. Everybody knows that. But higher low got put in after this wipeout bottom. That's right at 585, so you zoom in today. It'll look better on a 3. There you go. There you get an idea of what the stock is doing at 86. It ticked underneath 86. You know what? It hasn't even ticked under 86. This has been the absolute bottom. So that 85, 86 is really holding out. I don't wonder if there's not some kind of a scalp long in NEO that could be incoming. It's down 5% today. The Chinese ADRs have not had a good day. I just don't know how much you get out of this. Like, you're probably, at this time of day, you're not expecting Chinese ADRs to move much. So unless you have the ability to sit, grab a rebate at 86 or grab a midpoint, you could just be thinking about 4 or 5 cents on a trade like that. That's the reality, because I don't think you want it breaking 85. I'm not seeing much else in some of the other names for the Chinese ADRs. BABA is weak, but it's nowhere near any of the key levels that I liked. So, I mean, Alibaba, actually, that's not true. BABA could be interesting at 72. A little worse than I thought for Alibaba. If that breaks 72, there's room to the downside.
Yes, I mean, just I was waiting for 70 on Alibaba there at some point. I feel like we could get that. Again, hopefully moving forward, we'll be able to talk more about the podcast. But the thing is here, we just talked about buying Nike down here at $100, and it's trying to hold. It's only 4% in the money. We would like to see this get upside a little bit more. I just think about this because I think about Nike when I think about China, and then I also think about Starbucks as well when I think about China. They're coming to report today, Starbucks up 1%. again, like there's so many key levels here to watch out for. We had a question on the it wasn't the midday, it was on our show. Neil answered it where they were talking about strength in the consumer or not. Well, we're going to find out tonight about Starbucks. So they're being, hit because there's some pro-Palestine stuff there for Starbucks. So they've been hit on that all the way to the downside there. Like, look at this. This is like, I don't know, 15 straight negative days.
Is there not a green day in that run?
I don't think so. We just went over to Microsoft. So Microsoft just got juicier up to the upside right now. So it looks like we're going to get out. I already have the stop right now. This stock is strong. 408.30. We're going to get out. But I wanted to talk quickly about that softie because there it is again. It just came back to a reload spot. But the market is now flying. So we've been getting out of pretty much our trades here. The only one that we're trying to stay into is AMD. We talked about Affirm. Affirm is already almost out. Right there, 42.80. We already got out of, I just want to recap some of this. We got out of our Google right there, and we just got out of something else again, Microsoft. So, all right, so Microsoft, not really that great, man. I mean, a bunch of shorts, hit more on this than there, but there it goes. Again, if we're going to start trading higher, we'll get out of Microsoft. Whether or not that turns out to be good, I don't know. But we're going to see here it comes back in. We're going to get out of Microsoft here, though, as it's already done its dance. That sucks. We just got punched out, but that's okay. Maybe a reload there on Softy. Boeing just broke 200. Is that what someone just said?
Downside?
Yeah, so there it is. So Boeing with a nice 200 break. It actually happened a while ago. There it is. Boeing starting to get cracked. I actually got to get in there and start to buy this because I do like this against that 175. But remember what we said. Boeing reporting tomorrow. So
you gotta wait for the report.
That should be interesting. Damn it, Microsoft. We just got stopped out of that, but it would be fine. But we got to have stops at some points here. So that's that. Can I let you know what's going on with AT&T? We'll look at AT&T after.
Very quickly, only because you brought it up. I don't know, if Starbucks were to make a move breaking this support, oh my goodness, could you like give me something in the 80s? I'd be interested in that one. On the weekly chart, under the 50 and the 200 on the weekly consolidating, if it breaks this 90 level, which is local support here, going back to October on a weekly, oh my goodness, like that looks juicy. I mean, I didn't realize it was that bad on Starbucks. I'm not gonna lie. That's a chart that I probably hadn't looked at in a while. I didn't realize it was that far to the downside and it was that ugly. Get an 8 handle on it, and I think I'd be interested. I've never actually owned the stock, and I don't drink Starbucks. Actually, that's not true. If somebody buys me Starbucks, I'll eat Starbucks. Like I'll eat a cookie there every now and then. I just got out of Intel because Intel keeps holding. Remember I said it can't seem to break and hold beneath 43? Broke 43 early, got to the 90s. Broke 43 now, got to 95. The market started bouncing. I just punched out ones just now. So if we get to VWAP, we'll rinse and repeat it, not looking to give horse in the mouth. If the market doesn't want to break the low, then usually it's going to do the other thing where it bounces. And you can always short the pop. So be patient and short that pop. I don't know if we have to go to the desk if we're done there, but still holding on to Nicola. As far as remark goes, I wanted to quickly answer. We got a super chat. Wow, it was from Jose. Thank you, Jose, for the super chat. I'm assuming you're interested in swinging this stock. So I'll say the same thing I say about any penny stock. A penny stock is a penny stock for a reason, right? Obviously, I haven't read the details of this, but usually when you get some kind of an investment or a deal from a company where the raw amount is for more than the actual market cap of the company, like it's a $15 million company and it says it's like an $80 million partnership, usually that's spread out over a bunch of years and they report it that way. And then a lot of times, and they're saying, read this for yourself because I haven't checked, but this is usually the case because it sounds really good in the headline. So you'll have maybe spread out over a bunch of years, and there might be conditions to it, like it's only guaranteed X amount, and then this, and this has to happen for it to get to that 80 million over, say, like 5 or 10 years. That might not necessarily mean it's as big as you think. It doesn't mean it's bad news. Just make sure you know if you're going to swing. I think trades are trades, and Mark is on the midst of a break. The reason I said I was looking to reverse it was key level in here at about 77, the 200 period moving average. This was right on the midday when we were talking about this, and I know a couple people were looking at it. And then the sell came in when it false broke that 78, and then it just immediately reaffirmed the bid underneath 78, and then you're seeing 78 hold. The good sign is the volume's starting to pick up, but it's downward trend since that 80. VWAP's holding. Just be careful with those. The other thing, I have no idea. I just looked at this stock today. What if they have the ability to slap an offering? I don't know. Like, who knows? Like, maybe they don't need to raise money now with this deal, but what if they don't even have to file for a shelf and the stock doubles? Usually that's a really good opportunity for them to raise some capital. So you got to know these things in advance if you're holding these penny stocks overnight. I've been on the other side of that back in the day when I used to, actually invest in these pieces of you-know-what. Let's get to the desk and handle some business, Brendo.
The rundown is always brought to you by our friends over at Trade Ideas. I was just reminding Ramin and Fabian, I haven't asked Michael Noss who won this yet, but there's still a reminder up here that their tournament came to an end. Somebody won $2,400 on an Amazon gift card. So shout out to Trade Ideas. If you haven't done so yet, grab your copy. 20% off available to you right now, bottom right corner of the screen. Use that QR code or use tradertv.live for a promotional code, guys.
I just wanted to, make sure you do that. Go check out Trade Ideas. I should have asked him last night. He was on.
I was going to say, you didn't.
Yeah, go over. Nah, we don't talk about that. Go over to the Market Recap Show podcast and all that. They're right there. We have a good tweet about that. We also have a good LinkedIn post about that as well. Look, it's good to be in the king right there, and that's JP Morgan. So there it is, man. JP Morgan breaking all-time highs. This is a weekly chart. Taking it out right now. The banks continue to work, man. I'm glad I'm in this one. It's JP Morgan, the other bank that I'm in. I'm only in 2 U.S. banks, and it's JP and Goldman. Goldman's getting close, man. Goldman's getting close, but we'll see if it can break through that 4 bills. Of course, the high, I did this on purpose. The high there is 420. We'll see if that can break through or not, but that's going to be something to look at. Other banks, Morgan Stanley, well off, needs to get going as well, up to 108. That's a possibility. I'm just looking at the weeklies here because we have XLF, which is a nice trade. We talk about that all the time as well. Wells Fargo, well off. Citigroup's been having some big. Citigroup, I don't think will be anywhere near. No,
I thought they were up 5 points today.
Yeah, but nowhere near the highs. This is not JP Morgan. But right there, Citigroup, not even close. And then the big one that we talk about all the time, XLF. And again, please join, man. Join the Market Recap Show as we go over all of this over and over and over again. But XLF still has work to do, but right now breaking above this nice little level of $38 and trying to go. I think it's a fade up here if we can get anywhere near 40, 41 bucks. Well, we're close to 40 now, but 41. I think, like I said, these banks just continue to work, but maybe shorting that ETF at that point. That is XLF. All right.
Speaking of, just one more thing, because I don't want to get away from XLF, just to stay on topics. I don't know if we're going to trade the banks today. That's probably the only chance to say it. Speaking of the Market Recap Show, this is something that when Michael was on, I had a chance to talk to him about this, how big a monster hold the XLF was at the 37 level and this consolidation. This is a weekly chart, not a daily. Consolidation off the weekly, it breaks, clean off the 38, it's already through the 39. That's an idea of the stock is at a monster price level. Does it even matter which way a stock goes from there? Because if it breaks down, you've got a couple of points. If it breaks up, you still have another point till it gets to the 40 level. That's exactly the kind of thing that you can sink the teeth into. And it broke to the upside, and they're still going. Ooh, I just got out. Mark just took it out again. This stock is a little bit relentless. Threw the stop at break even, held out the last for a bit of a bigger move. But this is still doing tremendous volume. It's going to cross the $100 mark. Maybe VWAP shouldn't have been a thing, and you got to look a little bit higher here. On the daily chart, for the pullback, it does actually make some sense that it held 65 instead of going to VWAP. When in doubt, zoom out. When you pull the daily chart out, that's where you come up with this instead of looking at the 3-minute and saying VWAP. VWAP's good, it's not always correct. In this particular case, the daily chart predicted that pullback.
I wanted to talk a little bit about AMD because it was on the move there. Didn't want to interrupt, but it's not like dramatically on the move. It's just, it did make that bottom at 170. So if you have that, it's kind of like that Amazon. I do want to talk to Kyle Burdett after this, and Sharif's gone here, so I'm not going to call you big Kyle Burdett, but you had that short on Amazon, which was awesome. I'm getting out here. What was the heck was that? I'm telling you, there's my system still flickers all the time.
What happened?
I don't know. I was just looking at this and I thought something flickered. We are processing a lot of different video clips and things like that, so there is a chance. Anyways, I talked to Fabian about it. 171.50. If we break above there, I think we're going to get out. Is that 171.50? I thought I put in there 171.60, so I did. So that's the top there, 171.40. I wanted to give it a little more room just because it's been pretty violent there today on AMD. I did take a swing and a miss. So I have two red names today. Microsoft, we talked about that because I just had put way too much into that 208 long when it went to 206. So I'm going to be red on. We're a green day. So, but this was another trade that we had on just before we left you guys on the midday. Or no, sorry, this was during the midday. Palantir came in here, and I thought we could hold 60s. We didn't. So in and out. This is going to look, so those are 80s. That's 79. That's out 75. So it's like a 7-cent hit there, but Palantir definitely on the way down. That looks like a pretty amazing break right there, short. 1665, and then you could use this 75 right there as a marker. Wow, Meta's almost $2 long right now in the money. So that's pretty good. But anyways, that Palantir level right there, 1665. Let me go back and check on DraftKings real quick.
I was going to look at PayPal because if we're talking about relative strength and weakness.
Yeah, but the thing is PayPal had that news, and it went up and down.
I know, but it's still.
Oh, there we go. So it's doing up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I'm like, holy crap. Like, look at this. It's like okay, it's not really like an EKG because I don't think, that wouldn't be good, I suppose, if it was constantly going higher. I guess you could be working out.
I don't want a baseline somewhere.
Yeah, you do. You would rather a baseline.
Wow, PayPal.
When was the last time you saw a spike on news that gave it all the way back to where it was before and then bounced clean and made a new high? Usually, if it goes all the way back, that's it, and it's done. But PayPal is actually sustaining this move. Does it really just want to take out the top? I just want to go to a higher time frame here. Look at this top here at 64.30. That's the high of the day. When it tanked 2 days, I guess that's the event news. That was 3 days ago. On the event news, it was 64.30. That's what it's trying to take out right now. So when they tanked on their, I don't know, gonna shock the world, blah, blah, blah. There was a bunch of other stuff the CEO said. And the stock did not react in the way they wanted. It's trying to break out that high right now. I'd rather take a dip than take a breakout at this high on this flash news in a somewhat weak market. But at least I want to be looking long in PayPal. I'll look for like something in front of 64 because this is getting a little bit feisty over on PayPal. And not many things are actually testing their highs and breaking higher that aren't a bank.
I like that. Feisty.
I just can't believe it gave.
Isn't that an artist, Feist, Adara? F-E-I-S-T?
Yeah.
Some kind of a big song. Okay. So we were talking about DraftKings there, but this AMD is going to get stopped out. And maybe we should just take the 40s instead of the 60s. It's above 50, 70. Yeah, that's why. So there's 60 right there. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. In our business, it's going to matter a little bit more. And what I mean by that is like, we sit here and obviously sit here and trade equity. And, you know, when it is prop, so it's prop trading, you know, when you're trading other people's money, you can put in a little bit more in there because, again, we have pretty big buying powers and stuff. So it's just like 20 cents will make a difference, but we don't have a big piece on. So let's just hold that. I was more worried about Meta. But the thing is I really like the long here on Meta just because it held 400. Like, it held 400 in all of this. Like, when I came back, I went and got a coffee. I went and did this. I went and did that. I talked to the wife. We got some of these things out, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then I came back, and Sharif was like, you'll be amazed with your AMD. He's like, that's $3, $4 in the money. I was like, well, then Meta must be getting completely squashed. And it was like, nope, like Meta's all the way up. So Meta's still green on the day into a red NASDAQ. So let's just sit here and play this because, you know, if the market does turn up, I mean, AMD just turned around off that level. The firm's still the dollar in the money. And so so the four positions that we have short, Apple, $2 in the money. Affirm, smooth dollar, exactly $1. AMD, almost $3. ARM, $1. But we have all of our targets to get out if we start to rip up. So the thing is like, if we're going to still be in like new position, you know how many times I've traded ARM? Like 0. And there it is right there, nice move down in. So it doesn't really matter the stocks that you trade as long as you have your plan of action and what you're looking to do. So for me on ARM, that was the plan, was to go short on all that chip breakdown. ARM down 3% now. Do we know when they report actually? I think later, right? Because they were just a recent IPO.
Pretty sure it was later.
Let me just double check.
You can check.
Adira, of course, just said something. She probably knows. Like, come on. Feb 7th. That's crazy.
Well,
Like,
that's
I can't
next
even
week.
fill this out.
Wait,
ARM.
That's next week, right?
Feb 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What days?
Again, we talked about it on the podcast that we were 7% done the year. I can't believe how far we've come already in January.
But January's not over yet. It ain't over.
No, it ain't over yet. We got one more day, and tomorrow we'll be talking with, where is it? Where is it? I got it. Ramin, you thought it was market recap. Tomorrow we'll have Jerome Powell on the market recap.
Podium, baby.
Which we will not, but we will check that out tomorrow.
Well, that's not necessarily true because you'll have his comments, we'll have his reaction, you'll have the dot plot, you'll have the whatever Q&A.
Yeah. He still wants me to pay him to come on the recap show, but that's not happening.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Why be the Fed chair if you can't charge people?
I know. It's like, why be president if you can't write a book?
Yeah, and
Or you don't even have to be president.
Well, and speaking engagements too. Like,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
they make more money speaking engagements than memoirs? I have no. You guys tell me, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, no one goes into the presidency a millionaire. Well, at least that used to not happen.
Yeah, we got to get that Trader TV Live book out there ASAP. So stay tuned for that.
PayPal's still going.
PayPal's still going. So again, a stock that we talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast. The first thing was play the semis. That was the thing about the year. People were asking, what do we trade heading into the year? Play the semis. If you did that, what is it, 90% on SMCI, NVIDIA from 500 to 640, pretty clean. We also talked about this. We were under the 50-period moving average, baby. It was Adobe, and then right now, Adobe taking it out. So not only will the podcast have great content, but hopefully we'll be able to get some good picks. We also picked Palantir. I think it's a little bit higher than where we were, but this name's not moving. We got to wait for earnings on PLTR. I do hope that we can moon on this, but I've recently, actually I didn't even get filled. We put a bid down at 15 and didn't get that yet. So maybe 16 is something. But Palantir coming out with earnings. PLTR. Nope, that did not work. PLTR.
Somebody's Valentine's Day.
This is Feb 5.
Okay, never mind.
So again, another one. No, it's not Valentine's. It's Feb 13.
There's a stock that I associate with
what?
you that is either the day before or on the day of Valentine's. Just very quickly here, there's an attempted break of 64.50 on PayPal.
Maybe it's Disney.
It's finding a lot of resistance at this level. It dipped into 64, grabbed the 64 dip, but there's just sellers galore at the 50 level. It's already failed it once. If it breaks through, I'm looking to trail it. Maybe it can, maybe it can't, but there's a lot of, it's getting a little heavy here. You know what? This is silly. Like, I'm getting out of this. The way this is moving, every single time it's run into resistance, it pulls all the way back in. Run into resistance, pull into the next level. So why wouldn't it get back to 64? So quick in and out there. It, instead of taking the break, took the dip buy in front of 64, just got out 30s and then 44s. Oh, and by the way, Mark just got to 90 cents. So Jose, about you wondering whether it gets to $1, it's got a chance. It's definitely got a chance. Since when the news dropped, there was a clean 50 break that I wasn't fast enough to punch. And since then, it's still running higher and higher and higher. It's crossed the $100 million mark. This is just an absolute ridiculous runner on that Microsoft news. So if you still got it long, I flipped to a short, which worked, but the long probably would have been better buying it back into 65 even. Wow, 150%, and it still seems to want more.
Yeah, that deal was softy. Check out this. We posted this up on our Twitter about an hour or so ago. Go find it, lots of content. Look at this, most valuable brands in 2024. So this is Brand Finance's Global 500 ranking. You know, there's a whole bunch in here, obviously. Global 500, there's not 500, there's way less than that. But you're gonna see just how dominant all of these names are. Microsoft, like look at the brand. There's 334, 516, Amazon, Microsoft. And these guys are all like Meta, Facebook is right there, small. Look at TikTok. Can't invest in those guys. But there it is, man. China, obviously, it says China there. US, all these names. T-Mobile, Germany, okay. But anyways, as you go on, go find this and find where yours. There's Uber down there as well. But just look at this, man. It's so much value there as Taylor Swift apparently added 335 to the NFL on their brand. I don't know how they calculate that stuff, but
can she make it back for the Super Bowl is what people apparently are
yeah, apparently she can get back for Saturday night. So
that's doable.
It's doable. It's doable. So she'll probably be there. And then that's when, like I said about 5 months ago, the dude will propose probably at the Super Bowl. So you can actually go bet that now. I wish that was there a couple months ago.
You know what you can't bet?
What?
You can't bet how many times they'll show her on the broadcast.
Cannot. Oh, you will be able to.
Well, no, the reason given
Here
was
goes
that
AMD.
it's too much in control of like a producer, which to me it's like, yeah, but you can bet the length of the national anthem. Like, isn't that kind of that's just as controllable in my opinion.
You'll
so
be able to bet that.
I don't know. I think you should be able to bet that because obviously a lot of people are going to be like, my wife's she's not even like a Swiftie, and she's like, oh, how many times are we going to show Taylor Swift? Like, I know she'll be counting. Let's get to the desk because he's got some work to do. We got Frank Caberna. The market's down. Can we get the Frank pump as you learn a little bit about? No, you don't think so?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm short everything.
Let's get to the desk with Frank.
Yeah, short kind of an afternoon. There he is. Frank Caberna is Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Important day, Frank, as we head towards what is to come tomorrow at this time. In fact, we'll be sitting here listening to Mr. Powell on the microphone fielding all sorts of questions, I'm sure, as to where and how many different ways do you think they can ask, when will you start to cut interest rates? Because that's going to be the headline.
Yeah, absolutely, because the headline isn't likely to be any change to actual interest rates. And this has been pretty much every FOMC meeting for the last 5 years plus, predating Powell, even to Yellen. There's only a 2.1% chance of a rate cut at the January meeting come tomorrow. And you can see there that, 98% chance that they keep rates unchanged, but significant chance, obviously, that we get some kind of lean on where rates are going in the future, because as soon after as the next FOMC meeting, we're still looking at a 60-40 relationship. Now 40% chance that they rate cut in March. And remember, this has been a pretty wild ride. About a month ago, these odds were completely reversed and also even more extreme. It was up to an 80%, I think at its peak, an 85% chance of a rate cut at the March meeting. Now, not only is it a less likely outcome that they cut in March, but it's very close to 50-50, which means that tomorrow we're likely to get a lot of color as to what's going to happen by that March meeting, because one of the only things that we can really count on, like I said, given historical FOMC meetings, is that by the time the March meeting rolls around, that distribution will look very similar to the one for tomorrow, which is to say that tomorrow and the next month of trading will get the move in interest rates, and that'll obviously feed into stocks and all parts of the economy as to rate cut or not. I don't remember the last time, Brendan, that we saw both sides of the market, because obviously we've been hiking for the last couple of years, haven't rate cut yet. And I don't know, like I say, that we saw this distribution fill out in one direction and then move into the other direction. I guess the only last bit would have been last summer when they started to price in a couple more hikes and then they priced those out. We'll see if they priced in these cuts and then they priced those out for March and beyond. But yeah, it's a pretty even bet at this point that he'll either say that we're cutting as soon as March or that he's looking for more data beyond that March meeting.
Yeah, and let's focus on that side of things because, as you said, nothing's going to happen tomorrow outside of what we could potentially get is in the way of comments from him. If we get that indication of if he stands pat on what they've been doing, going back to this time last year, and that is we're data dependent, data dependent, data dependent. If I hear that term data dependent one more time, it's going to be too soon. What does that mean for the overall market here? Because I think, as you said and indicated to, a lot of people and a lot of instruments across the board are really looking for that, solid 100%. This is coming next time.
Well, it's really interesting because I think we'll get a big short-term reaction one way or the other, and I'll get to that reaction in a second, how that would play out if he says one thing versus the other. But what's been really interesting is that stocks and gold, Brendan, are at pretty much all-time highs, even with these rate cuts not having yet come, and actually the last month worth of price action speaking to less rate cuts than expected at the end of 2023, which if you don't necessarily understand market dynamics, those two ideas should theoretically move in opposition, which is to say, if they're pricing in less rate cuts, essentially higher interest rates now than they were a month ago, then you would expect non-interest-bearing gold prices to be lower. And you would expect stocks who thrive and grow on greater access, easier access to cash, lower interest rates, you would expect those stocks to be lower. And so this is all to say, in the long run, it seems like these markets don't actually care so much about whether they cut in March or they cut in May, the next meeting, where it's an 84% chance that they cut. But keep in mind, it's almost like a scary number now, that 80 to 85% chance, because that's exactly where March was a month ago. So that can quickly get baked out depending on what Powell says tomorrow, and depending on the non-farm, the employment that's coming on Friday, and inflation that's coming later this month. But like I say, it is really interesting to see that this gold market, this stock market, and the Forex market's actually been more directly tied to interest rates. But those other two, commodities and stocks, in the long term are kind of doing their own thing. Now, that being said, there have been knee-jerk reactions of these markets coming off of the movement in interest rates. And so what that means is tomorrow, if Fed Chair Powell comes out and essentially is as hawkish as you could possibly be, and says, we're not looking at interest rate cuts for March. We're not really looking for cuts at this time. We're still trying to keep rates as high as we need them to be for as long as possible. If they price out that rate cut in March, Brendan, and they start to price out the rate cut even in May to follow, you're likely to see gold prices move lower, stock prices move lower on the idea of higher interest rates for longer. But like I say, over the course, if you expand outside of a couple of hours or a couple of days of trading, those markets have been moving with less and less correlation to interest rate markets. But the asset class that has been trending with rates has been Forex. We've seen, in tandem with this recent interest rate strength, the US dollar is strengthening once again against all major currencies pretty much. But I thought that was an interesting bit. And yeah, I want to get your lean on this as well. Is, do we see a more muted reaction in stocks one way or the other, given that we've priced out a couple rate cuts in the last month, and S&P and NASDAQ are right there at all-time highs?
Yeah, and we alluded to that, thinking anyways, the last time we spoke, when we were touching on the fact that it's been, so long since we've had that really 100% certainty either way going into these press conferences that anything can really happen. So I completely agree that it might be, a more muted reaction, as you said. And I want to touch on that in the sense that, and we talked about this as well the last time you were on, we're talking about May here at this point, which leaves only X amount of meetings to go after that, and there's still a decent size of cutting to do if you look at what the dot plot was pointing to. And on that, correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, but this meeting tomorrow is another one where we get projections, economic projections, and a dot plot from the Fed?
I think we're supposed to get, the full run of projections from the Fed tomorrow, including that dot plot. Now, that being said, whether we get it or we don't, it seems like they're pretty set on that 2 to 3 rate cuts. I would be surprised if any of the central bankers move far off of that. But you bring up a great point, and it's one that, I think is going to come to a head probably in the next month or so of trading. And it's the fact that they're looking at 100 to 150 basis points of cuts still by the end of the year. And so what's essentially happened throughout the yield curve here in the US is we've seen them price out rate cuts in the short term, but keep them in the market in the medium term, because 150 basis points, where the bulk of that curve is, in the 100 to 150 basis points, that is traditionally in 25 basis point cuts, that's 4 to 6 rate cuts, okay? And that's by December of this year. Now, you start to do some math and you think, oh, okay, well 4 to 6 Fed actions, hiking or cutting in a given year, doesn't seem crazy, doesn't seem too difficult, but keep in mind that, okay, they're not likely to cut tomorrow. In March, there's a less than 50% chance that they cut. And then after March, Brendan, there's only 6 more meetings in the remainder of the year. And so this is almost one of those scenarios. I liken it a lot of times to where you see like the VIX rally a little bit on the idea, not necessarily on stock downside, because obviously if the stock market crashes, VIX moves higher, the implied volatility, the fear gauge, prices for options on the stock market as it's crashing move higher. But every once in a while, you'll see option prices and coincidentally the VIX rally a little bit, even though the stock market's moving sideways and people just think there's fear in the market. And right now, and every once in a while when that happens, there ends up being stock downside and they end up being right. But also sometimes the stock market will just continue to chug along and that fear will come out of the market. That plot right there reminds me a lot of that situation whereby 4 to 6 rate cuts with essentially only 6 meetings left in the year is the market saying one of two things. One, they're going to cut every meeting from May through the remainder of the year, which is extremely aggressive, or that they're going to have to cut by 50 basis points or 75 basis points or 100 basis points in one meeting to get all of this done by the end of the year, which is kind of like that scenario that I speak to, where it's like there's almost like a fear in the market or an idea that by the end of 2024, there will be a reason for the Fed to significantly cut rates more than they've priced in and more than is usually, they don't like to necessarily cut or hike meeting after meeting after meeting, a pretty aggressive path there. And so we'll see what happens. Like I say, the market thinking there will be a reason to cut 100 to 150 basis points, the Fed not thinking that. And if January and March go by, it's going to be even more difficult for them to actually execute on what the market is thinking. So either the market will be right or the Fed and the way that they've set their path will be right. And tomorrow, I think, will give a big indication. I think we'll see some big shifts after tomorrow's meeting in interest rates and in Forex. Stocks and commodities, they're kind of in their own world. They might be a good fade either way.
Definitely. A lot of different ways that strategy can go. I want to focus on one, and we'll talk about non-farm payrolls coming up a little bit next time on Thursday. But I want to touch on the fact that what does it actually mean or indicate if they go 50 or if they, dare I even say, go 75 basis points in one cut?
Yeah. I mean, for that to happen, keep in mind that when was the last time they cut by a significant amount was the outset of the pandemic. And so when you're talking about a greater than 25 basis point hike or cut, it's usually because something significant is going on in the market. It's almost like that idea that you hear from a lot of new traders, Brendan, where it's like, oh man, like I know that stock XYZ is trading at 100, but I really want to buy it when it's trading for 60 bucks. And then when it gets down, it crashes down to 60. No one wants to touch it. It's a similar idea right now where the stock market and everybody is kind of, you want to talk about the golden path or the soft landing. It's this really nice scenario where it's like, we've reached the peak in interest rates. We know they're going to normalize lower. And everybody's like, we really want them to go, lower by 200 basis points, get back down to 2% or go back down to 0%, because that'll really boost stocks and it'll really boost crypto. And it's like, what brings that market down to zero is usually a big event that you don't want to happen to the stock market or the crypto, whatever market you're looking at here. Honestly, I think theoretically, and of course anything can happen, everything will happen in the future. The best case scenario is they only cut by 75, 100, 125 basis points a few times this year in 25 basis point increments that don't spook the stock market. Because if they have to cut by 50 or 75 or a larger increment, something bad's likely going on.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was pointing to there. It's a really interesting scenario and situation, and almost the exact opposite of what was happening on the way up. With 75, 75, 70, then half a point and half a point, but on the way down means entirely different. But yeah, lots to come tomorrow. We'll see how this entire situation plays out. Tomorrow, make sure you're with us. 2:30 will be more important than 2 o'clock, obviously, with the press conference. Frank Caberna, great to see you. Thanks for this.
Thanks, Brendan.
It's Frank.
Frank. Thanks, Frank. With the everything will happen as well, by the way, because as an ode to,
Whatever will happen.
In an infinite universe, eventually all outcomes will happen. I don't know. I kind of think that things, that's not very literal, but it's so true. Like if you're around long enough and you're like, I've never seen this happen in the market, eventually you're going to see it happen. So all craziness, it's at some point, it's like, you can't have like a flash crash. You can't have big cap tech stock can't go to like $0 in a flash crash. Well, that happened. I never thought that's the kind of thing. It was Accenture that went to $1 in a flash crash. But again, the market made a mini bounce. It wasn't much, but like today you're grasping at straws if you're looking for strength. It was a little bit of a bounce into the local top. So the work was done. The bottom did get put in temporarily on the NASDAQ here. Now we're challenging this top at 1760. Now, what have we usually said in the afternoon if you get an inside day? Looking to fade some things that are at resistance points. I went right back over to Intel to see if there's no VWAP, but there's this at 4310, which is oddly specific, but it's got a double top here on the 3-minute at exactly $43.10, which is weird. I also like Micron. So AMD I get being down what it is. They report tomorrow. They've been an absolute rocket ship. Micron being down 3.5%, I think you got to work to an explanation for that one a little bit more heavily. Like it's not like AMD being down, that makes all the sense in the world. Look at the run it's made on the year. Like Micron's had a run, but it's not the AMD run. So this is a pretty big pullback. It's now underneath the 86 level. I'm looking to short the pop in Micron. It's rejecting this high on the daily here. We've been talking about this channel for a while now, so I don't know if it gets all the way back to the bottom of the channel. I would suggest to you I'd probably be a buyer if the stock got down there again, but until we get down there, I think the short off the 90 level makes some sense. Did not try it today. Yesterday, it sucked. Today, when I don't do it, like it's actually better than Intel. Or like yesterday, it's like, Intel's a better short than Micron. Today, you make that adjustment, and then Micron's the better short than Intel. But I want this short into about 86.30 on Micron as this continues to bleed. If the market doesn't break that high, at least the NASDAQ doesn't, then I want to look for a short on this oddly weak chip name.
Yeah, we have, we'll talk about this in a second, but we do have a new position. It's Square. You'll see it at the bottom there, Square short, 68.50. Go check out the podcast. Feel like it was a great one. And I just tweeted this out right now. Interesting performance here, visualized. Top stocks this year and their gains and losses. So let's just have a quick little look here. We've talked about this. I want to know which one surprises maybe you, Neil, the most here. I chose SoFi. down 8%. I thought, you know, with the banks kind of breaking out a little bit here, SoFi would have a chance to go. But I mean,
there's
look,
the easy answer for me.
yeah, look but what surprised you?
The one surprising me.
Yeah. Which one?
Enphase.
Oh, right. There it is. Yeah.
Zero clue Enphase was up 17%.
Oh, down. Those are brackets.
Oh, that's down? Okay,
Yeah, see
never mind.
Tesla.
Okay, well then that's not that surprising.
Yeah. So there you go. So Tesla, Enphase. I'm just surprised SoFi's down is what I was getting at.
Zscaler's not.
There's not too many big names here. I mean, there's Pan W, Crowd.
I'm a little surprised SoFi's down on the year.
But it's been 1 month is also the point of why I was kind of bringing this up.
It's probably a timing thing.
Anyways, Shopify, I feel like Uber, I'm a little bit surprised by Uber, honestly. I feel like that run into the S&P 500 there would have pulled back.
For some reson, I thought Broadcom was a little better than 9%.
Oh, yeah, good
Why
call.
did I think Broadcom was doing better than this?
Anyways, these are just growth stocks. I mean, you know, there's other stocks that are probably blasting.
Oh, you know, it's because, never mind.
Not more than that, but like the bank stocks aren't on there.
Broadcom just pulled back like 70, 80 bucks off the high. So
that was tweeted out.
This is not a stock. This is not a stock that I check every single day. So if I'm saying I'm a little surprised, I thought it was doing better on the year. Well, it was. It was double digits on the year up until like a week ago. So it's a good month for Broadcom. What's interesting about Broadcom today? Only down 1%, and you know, you talk about, okay, thank you, 15-minute chart. You talk about things holding the lows. It's generally a good sign when the market takes the stairs down and everything is pressing and you see like the relentlessness of like AMD, or like now I looked at Micron breaking those lows. Broadcom has not broken Friday's low here. The $1,200 level is still very much intact. That's a great sign. If it can hold that through earnings on AMD, I think that would be a pretty good sign.
So before we did that, we did this. I know how loud it is over there. I know. I just wanted to. When we have guests on, it gets loud so we can all hear it, and then that goes. But anyway, shout out to T-Money talking about looking up, and that alert was for the same trade that they have on as well. And here's Square, baby. We just put this on, and here's 20 cents. Not bad. Playing it, well, we'll see if it's 20 cents or not right now. We're short at 50s. I was just bidding 30s. We didn't get filled. We actually had two fills there, one at 40, then one at 35. Just came in right there. It's the 200 period moving average, so that's why we took a piece out there as well as 40. So we always take a dime, and then because we were ahead of that, we took another piece out. But now we'll wait for 30s, which is this kind of a top, and then we'll see if we want to bleed lower. But the thing is that the futures right now are trying to pull back up. So I don't know if it's starting to get something where I'm not that superstitious, but honestly, it's like, here comes Frank, bye-bye, Frank. And then the market falls down into there. So I'm going to...
Long something at the bottom at 245, long a strong stock at 245.
Like, there's no way that's true, but like...
Sure, but if you go long a strong stock, it's okay, because if you can find an entry that made sense anyways... Yeah. Right? Like, it's like I like this long regardless. It just so happens to be setting something up at 245. And then I like this short regardless. It just happens to be setting up at 3 o'clock.
I know.
I think that's the way to play it. Like, just be looking for something that might.
Yeah, or don't play it at all. But I do think that there might be something there. Just quickly, those of you that are like AMD long, you guys were, 100% right. So let's go. Not my idea. This was everybody else. I just don't have. Here, I know what I can do. Let's do this. Props to the viewers, because you guys were saying AMD long. When you guys were saying that, it was down here 170, 170 and a quarter for sure. So shout out to everybody that hit this, and a shout out to everybody that was maybe short and got out with me $1 ago. So there's the out at 170, 160. Good out. You are coming back up to the 200 period. I would say this is a reload, but we are now 40 minutes away, 52 minutes away.
51 minutes away.
From the market recap show, where we're going to have Brian Shannon on, who honestly nailed some NVIDIA calls. We're going to be talking all about that. He's going to be anchoring some sort of VWAPs all over the place. So get ready for that one. As there's Square T-Money. Let's go. Shout out to Brendo.
You got to pull up the...
Why not? Good interview with Frank, of course.
The best charts to see anchored VWAP is going to be SMCI from the guidance.
I'm going to call him... Let's see if he gets this joke, which he will. I'm going to call him Anchor VWAP Man.
Hey,
Anchor Man, you know?
No, he'll get that.
Yeah, I think he'll get that. He's a good guy. So we'll play around with him tonight, and that should be a fun one. So join tonight. I'm not doing it for anything other than giving you guys as best information as possible. And so yeah, stay late, have some fun, have a drink or two, or don't, and we'll do the market recap show, and it's going to be wicked today. By the way, Meta. All right, so we'll make some money on the Square trade, but Meta's bleeding back. And we only have 10%, and we did not take it out at the high. We purposely held this, thinking that we could get going right now. Brian is the man implied gold, so hit him up at Alpha Trends. And where's his book?
Gold.
I don't have it. It's up over there. You don't have it either.
Oh no, I lent it to. It's on the bridge. I lent it to Brankles.
Okay, good. Okay. Anyways, Meta's pulling back in. I don't know. I don't know if we want to reload this, but we probably will. No. Down here now at 4 bills, and then if we get back up to like. If we ever get back up to 402, I think we should probably just get out of this one, take the $2 and run. But anyways, 402 for Meta. My bad, but we do make money, obviously, on ARM, Apple, and all that. Apple's the one that's actually still holding down. Look at the 200 period. Apple, the weakest of the bunch today.
Well, the weakest of the, crap, what are we calling them again? It's the, whatever.
Super 6?
The Super 6. You just keep changing it every single day so that you can say something.
It's only Kramer, man. You can change it.
No,
you can still call it Mag 7.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Mag 7.
We could say Mag 7 and throw somebody else in there. Or keep
Well,
Tesla.
Kim, let's just throw, like he said Eli Lilly, but I'm agreeing with that one because I own Eli Lilly, so I'm down with that 100%. So how about this? I'm going to keep saying Mag 7, and then until Tesla bounces, just know that I mean Eli Lilly, which I haven't even looked at today. I just got a partial.
Eli Lilly's at all-time highs. Just to let you know that. There's a 640. Yep, 644, 645.
I'll tell you what's not at all-time highs.
Rivian.
Pfizer. Well, okay, I was going to keep it in the.
Pfizer, yes.
Yeah. No, Rivian's not either. It's just I figured I'd keep it in
Is Pfizer getting killed today?
It could be worse.
Okay, good.
I'll get the Pfizer.
I did buy some.
I actually want to buy again, but I wanted to settle down after earnings. It didn't quite break lows. But I just got filled on Mark because why not? All right, there goes Mark. We took a shot at Mark in front of 2. So Remark Holdings is now up 200%. I had the $1 short. I actually got partialed, and I just kind of like, whatever. Let's move the order up a little bit and move it right in front of the $1 level because it didn't give me everything. It then held 96. It just took out the top. This stock is absolutely flying. I don't want to be long above $1. It's now a double up and then a triple up on Remark. And yes, they have a partnership, but I think this is likely to turn around at some point soon. It's starting to get a little bit heavy up there. Oh, and by the way, when you were saying that about Square, shorting Square, whomever was selling at $64.50 on PayPal, like sometimes when we talk about this, when a stock is trying to break a high, like what is the behavior when it gets to like that fresh high? And it was sellers jumping in front of the even dollar. Like it's not an even dollar, but it's like an even 50 cent. Sellers jumping in front of it. And then when it tried to hold the highs again, like it pulled back, bounced off like the 30 level, tried to get there again, and then sellers were, instead of being at 48, 49, they were at 46 and 47 and then 43. Like it was just a lot of selling and it got really heavy. Now it wasn't enough for me to short, but it was enough to get out of the trade. PayPal still, remember, the news of the job cuts, they are still effectively a breakout of the morning top. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? That is 63.50 was the morning high. It dipped once to that level. It's dipped a second time to that level. If it can hold on to 63.50, then I'm going to go into a long, and if it breaks 63.50, I'm out. That's the. I was going to try to think of something creative there, but no. If it breaks 63.50, I'm out. Let's just leave it at that. It's just a good area. I know I'm wrong if it can't hold on to the established bottom, which has confluence with the actually opening. Top there. That was about 930, like 933, I think it made that high. So PayPal still looking okay, but there was that crazy dump at 64.30 64.50 just now.
I mean, these guys are hilarious. Thanks for that. Look, I am wearing the Vision Pro right here. That's great. Did
you get it fitted?
Yes. Yeah,
it's important. You got to get
pretty much fits
fitted.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's a little offside there, but it is a good one. I like the Vision Pro right there. Thanks. So join me tonight with Brian. There he is. It'd be really hilariously good. I would love to do the show in the Vision Pro. Marissa just got a text from my son who's at school. He got the Apple Watch, eyelash, for his birthday yesterday. He's 12. And he just sent Marissa a text that he wants KFC for dinner, and it's like,
When was the last time you had KFC?
he loves it. So
Oh, okay.
I get the sandwich. I just get the whatever.
Is it still the Big Crunch?
Yes,
That
I
the one?
believe it's yeah. I don't know if it's called that.
Well, that was that was my thing back in
But I'm
the
just
day.
like, we went to we took him out
You say
yesterday.
Mandarin yesterday.
Yeah, and it's like, and then I just said to Marissa, like, what? Like, let's save like fast food for, not nights when we're home. Like, let's save it for, hockey nights or nights when we're on the run or something like that. And she goes, yeah. She just said it to me to show the text that she gets from my
That's
kids
kind of our rule too.
throughout the day.
It's like the gymnastics night. That's
Yeah, it has to be
swimming
something
night.
where that's what I told her.
Because you don't have you have less time to prepare something. Well, today's what day?
Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Oh yeah, big earnings day, Tuesday. Oh well, KFC used to have something called Toonie.
I was gonna say it was. I was gonna say
Now I
Toonie
think it's
Tuesday.
like
with
$5
inflation.
Tuesday.
Oh goodness.
I don't know.
Dude, that
Dumb
was
brand.
we were in high school when that was Toonie Tuesday.
He did have my wife's in the chat. I'm like, someone's talking about my kid being in grade 6. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Marissa? Yeah, there it is. Maybe there she is, by the way. Right there. Where? Oh no, I found her. There she goes. Oh, there she goes. There she is. Maybe he had a long day of grade 6. Yeah, maybe he did. Oh yeah, the day's over already. Damn.
It's 3 o'clock.
Like, what
dude.
the
School is
heck,
finished.
man? School. Yeah, but you know what they do? So my kids play the cello, and they do music after school until like 5 o'clock. So Marissa gets a break. She doesn't get me until 5:36, and the kids same thing. So yeah, Taco Tuesday. Yeah. We're already having a really great salad. Marissa, put what the title of the salad is.
It's swimming tonight. I might want tacos myself.
You know what I'm saying? Grab the Taco Tuesday, baby.
Well, the thing is, we just had tacos like last week.
I don't hear any problems with that.
No, I don't see a problem with it either, but my daughter makes those decisions. We're swimming tonight, so she'll get to choose what we have. She generally always wants, it's weird, she likes sandwiches on gymnastics. Tomorrow we're eating sandwiches. I'll probably have like a tuna fish or something. PayPal just bounced off that 63.50. Damn it, why can't it be like 63.50? Although, I don't know why we're not allowed to do that. Sharif was like, I can't say that. I'm like, yes, you can. It's Russell Peters. You're doing an impression. 63.50. Let's go, PayPal. I don't know if this can sustain the move, but PayPal's starting to look healthy again. It was a huge rejection last week. I mean, look, and then going into the event was disastrous for them. CEO essentially not delivering anything that the investors seem to want. But you know what it did do for PayPal? It bounced off the 50 period. It's regained the 200 period moving average, and it looks like we're still trending back into the upside. Bull markets are meant to start to incorporate things that have not participated before. So when all the big cap tech names make fresh highs and start to slow up, things like PayPal are supposed to get going, and that's how you get the next leg. And obviously it's more like financials are going, but I'm just trying to make a case for PayPal because it hasn't been a good one. But at least today it's strong. So shout out to you, PayPal. I'll keep looking over because if Square does a tankaroo, then you never know, PayPal's probably going. Stops at that 50 level. If it can't break 64, I probably move the stop up to 63.60. There's only 30 minutes till the imbalances come out. And I guess 13 minutes till we get the early look. But some of the names that report, which we haven't even, we probably haven't talked about it, AMD in like 5 minutes. Usually we're talking about it. AMD's still going up. So I'm questioning how much I want to still fade into like Micron or Intel when AMD is sustaining this move higher. So I just canceled my Micron order. I'll make more of a judgment call if it gets to my price. It never did. But AMD just kind of held atop, trying to come back, and it's not exactly flushing. And Micron's nowhere near where my entry was. Like, it was going to have to pop up to get me filled anyways. Sometimes you don't want to have that order sitting out there at 330, or just in case AMD does something insane, which would not be crazy.
No, I was thinking the same thing here. If Square drops, don't worry, I'm on Square. You'll probably hear about it. Darn, there was one stock I want to talk about. Now I can't remember what it is. Mark?
How is it? Okay,
Yeah, where is
whatever,
Mark
man.
anyway?
115.
Oh, the stock mark, yeah. Okay.
No, Mark's around somewhere.
Sharif ain't here. Mark, Sharif's Mark. Okay. I don't know, I'm just talking about someone in the chat there. I guess Sharif must have been trading it. All right, ORCL, Oracle. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. Someone in the chat there, so Oracle is positive, which has made me think about it. Can Microsoft, someone in the chat was like, can Microsoft get back positive? Look, there's reasons why we bought 408. I mean, I really like Microsoft long. It's too bad that we lost there and then made back a little bit on the short, but ultimately still my worst name here today. We have two red names, Microsoft and Palantir. So other than that, man, it's been a pretty groovy day. I think, yeah, we can get back positive. You're going to need to get going. Yesterday's closing price was 4 o'clock, 409.75. That would be a great move, 409.75. But we can get it, man. That's just where VWAP is. I believe that we can get up a little bit higher there, 409.50, 409.75. So we'll take a shot there to see. But let's go over quickly to Brendan at the desk and handle some business.
This segment, as always, brought to you by our friend Danielle Shea and also by Simpler Trading. Go check this out right now. You can get her favorite option strategies bundle in one exclusive bundle for just $47. Shout out to Danielle Shea and Simpler Trading.
There you go. And fantastic analysis of earnings. My goodness, Mark, by Danielle yesterday. This stock is completely insane. At this point, it actually has a small short float as well. Like it's 7 or 8%. Like where is this headed? It's another reverse split special, and it's now back.
There goes the market.
Reverse split move. Like that. This is insane. 140, 150 are the next levels up. I'm not chasing it. Is what it is. But wow. Like I look back at it and I know like the $1 level is like a popular level to look for a fade, and it bounced out. It took it the first time, but it was really just a reversal long, and I'll get there in a second. So I'm gonna move the stop on PayPal. I said if it could make a test at that 64, which is what it did. So there's the test of 64, made a new bottom, and then there's the top. So gonna move the stop into that local bottom and see how far PayPal can get to said upside. But what I was saying about Mark is, why wouldn't, and this is it's always hindsight's 2020. Like there's the $1 move the first time, which I missed. I was saying in the chat, man, I missed that. The second time through, that's ye old double top break, double top break. This was another double top break. I didn't reverse that one either. So the level that looks good for a short, double top break. It's gonna halt if it halts at one. This is ridiculous. It just went into the halt state at 132. Didn't actually halt. It bounced back to the downside. And that was the first time today that it looked like it was going to halt. Sometimes that can signal a turn. I wouldn't be chasing it up here. The fact that it's even getting to the point where it's starting to halt is a little bit crazy. But the partnership deal with Microsoft, that's all you need to be able to say. Like a Microsoft earnings, you put Microsoft and Azure into anything, and you can get a result like this.
Yeah, especially with Microsoft earnings, maybe they'll talk a little bit about some of their opportunities. I just took that opportunity to put a stop order in for Apple. If Apple goes back up here, we want to make sure that we capture it. We're still $2 in the money on 190, but we're not going to let this go too much past this one. I want to zoom back out a little bit again. This 188.28, 188.30. So that's where we're going to stop out on that one if it does happen. And then we just took another out on Square. I mean, what's up, T-Money in the chat? You're in this as well. We only have 20% left, 25%, 20%. We have 4 outs here. Our best out is like 30s, basically. A couple outs at 30 here. We just took another one. So hopefully it will fade out a little bit to the downside, and we'll be able to watch out for that. Meta's trying to go back up again. Yeah, I don't know. I still want to wait for this 402. I mean, 402.20. Where am I sitting? I'm not sitting anywhere. So I feel like that's going to be a good price if we're able to get that. Affirm is out right there, but that was about $1 off that top take there on Affirm. Let's look for something else. All right, we could check out
volume spike on. Oh wait a minute,
we could check out GM.
Snapchat had a volume spike, but
look at GM. That's a hard pass. We talked about Ford earlier today at 1150, so that could have been something. But it, again, like, you know, considering the day that we had today with earnings and how much of a move that was for GM, you would think that something would have happened here with Ford, but not. Up 2%, still a nice move. Let's go over to Tesla. Did Tesla bounce off that 190? Yes, it did, but you had to take 191 the last time there. So there's 190, nice move. And again, like, what time is it? 3:30 almost. I like this kind of trading right now into a big earnings day. I'm not really expecting to see too much. If we do get a dramatic pull one way or the other, then we could maybe hop into something. The reason why I'm looking up is that we're still checking out our scanners and everything. And if something shows up, then we will definitely take it. You know, the meta long is there. The ARM is coming back up, but we still have a third of this. We never put on too many shares. We actually wanted more against VWAP at the time. Just didn't come through. So we'll have to wait to see if we can reload that as well. We could check back in on it. Oh,
no way.
The dangerous trade
Sober
was
is moving.
AMD. What is Sober?
Remember there was that
Sober?
stock. It was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
SOBR, and it was
The marijuana blow thing?
no, it was some kind of a breathalyzer test.
Yeah, for weed, I thought it was.
For weed, yeah, I think it was for weed. But anyways, it's like a penny stock. But like, see, here's the problem. It just popped up on my scanner, but look at this thing when I pull it up. Like it did. It's literally blowing up my scanner because it's the only thing breaking out on relatively high volume, which just basically means I don't have my scanner sensitive enough because it's like 400,000 in volume. So that's one thing you got to pay attention to. Like, yes, this is up 21%. Yes, it is breaking highs in the afternoon. Those are things that you like. And you might pull up like a 15-minute doesn't look that bad, but you saw that 3-minute chart. That was no good. I wasn't 100% sure if it was marijuana. I knew it was a breathalyzer one. Didn't that do something crazy back in... I just remember us talking about this a lot. But I guess that was like... Oh, that was 2022. Wow, that was a while ago. No, because this stock did one of those like $1 to $4 moves in like a couple of days. So yeah, not much there. But I'm looking at my scanner as well. I want to see something that's moving and maybe giving you like a quick breakout trade or like some scalp trades that isn't remark, because this is a little bit insane in remark to try to buy the highs. If you're, what the heck? Where can you get the scanner? So this is simply my trade ideas layout. So if you want any of our trade ideas layouts, there's two ways you can get it. One, you can always like DM us and I can copy it to you because it's just saved in the cloud. Anybody can have my layout. It doesn't really matter. Or you can ask Michael Noss for it and he'll do it too. And then I don't have to do anything because Michael's nice like that. But it's very simple. Like all you do is you share a link in the cloud. And if you have a Trade Ideas account, you can have Sean's layout, you can have my layout, you can have Sharif's layout, you can have Brendan's layout, or anybody that has it saved. So I have like high of the day Momo scanners. I haven't really done the races in a while. I have pullback to prior resistance, up and down gappers for the morning to help me come up with like my list of the stocks I'm watching in the morning. So again, I have a couple of pages of this too. So anyone that's interested, and I always have this up as well, which is just like the general stocks that get some information on it. Then I have some symbols that I might be following on a watch list as well. So it's a great resource. I mean, everyone on the show uses Trade Ideas, as you know.
Yeah, it's a good resource. Yesterday on the recap show, of course, we brought you Nucor's earnings. This is the only steel name that I own, and it is at all-time highs. And we actually talked about it live on the show yesterday as that report came out. There it is, nice little move up. We talked about it having to break 180, and then when it did that, it just was like, see you later this morning. There's this morning's trade. There's the break of 180. Like, honestly, guys, I need to be on these kind of trades more when we see this. There it is. There's 180, all-time highs, Nucor, breaking.
Do you have a 3-minute?
We've been buying this one for a long time, and the only steel name that we have, no, I'd have to change this to 3.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Anyways, just riding it all the way up, 188, 189. I won't trade it today, but just wow, up 7% for this steel maker. Like, great one there. And again, you don't have to worry about, United States Steel, U.S. Steel got that.
It's the deal.
Bid from Nippon there, but I don't know if that will last.
The problem with that deal, the U.S. Steel deal, for obvious reasons, is being at a foreign buyer, it's going to have more regulatory hurdles than the average deal. And it's an election year too, and they've been really sensitive about these types of deals going through. So you run that risk. And it's not to say, Nucor is probably a more stable name anyways, but if you're wondering why U.S. Steel is trading underneath its price and not really moving much, there's a chance a deal happens. I don't know one way or the other. There was some kind of an update today, but it's not really even moving. Just a couple of things here. The market is really, you know what? You were joking. We were joking about the frank bounce, but if you look at this like 60-minute chart, like that's This is our last like power hour candle. We're now trying to break out on the NASDAQ. The ES was already strong up at the highs because remember the banks have not been having a bad day, and you have a lot of other sectors which are doing okay today. Obviously, semis have had a bit of a mixed showing, but you are at the highs. You're now green on the ES. Well, there is a poll up, which I don't know if I mentioned this. I threw it up. Wait a minute, oh, it's gone. Okay, I don't know how you get rid of that. I put a poll up about AMD was going to be green or red, and I think it got replaced by this tag. I don't know how to get rid of that. But anyways, it's behind there. I actually voted for red on AMD.
Oh, it was after earnings.
It was after earnings.
That's what the
Not
poll
today. Obviously, it would be. It's not going to close.
Yeah. No, I don't mean today. I'm just saying that's what the poll was.
In like an infinite number of runs of this day in the market, I'm sure you can come up with one of those runs where AMD gets back this 2.5 or 2.5% to the upside and then closes green, but that's really not happening. So my answer would be that's non-zero. It's after earnings. So take whatever AMD closes at, and then will it be green or red? I think wherever that close is, the risk is in the other direction when this happens to the stock. That's all. I get it's based on nothing other than that. I was saying this to Sean earlier, the last time Intel like dogged it on their guidance, AMD came out and didn't have those same concerns and the stock went higher. So if history were to repeat itself, AMD would do the same thing. It would take Intel's concerns and say, we're better, everything's fine for us, which would usually mean breaking higher.
I mean, if you want to look at this. Okay, so here's AMD. Just hold on a second. I just want to find out what its move actually was the day after. 9%. Nah, it was not. I don't think that's right. AMD's, their last report tanked the stock. This is probably their last quarter last year. This was their last quarter. You guys could look. I mean, we can go find it. I'll have to go find it. But it touched $94. Maybe it was up 10%. I don't know. But they really got hit. This was their last report. The end of October. I know that for a fact. So, but anyways, there it is. A nice move up. Basically doubled off that. And that was a bad report until they came out and started talking about the chips. So it could have been up after the last report for sure.
October 31.
Yeah, October 31st. So that's...
You got the right date.
Yeah, so it's right there. Okay, so maybe... Well, anyways, so the thing about it is, I will have to zoom in, but it did touch down there at $94, and then during the conference call is when it started to go. So maybe there was a 10% move that day. But what I'm getting at is that we had a huge move in to the downside. We touched $94 their last report. So $94 times that by 2, and you're right where you are right now. It's definitely overachieving, but that doesn't matter. It's still continuing to go to the upside. So again, you know, if you're in AMD or anything like that, you definitely can see possibility for a pullback. I don't think we get to 150, but like, you know, we hit a nice move in. So we'll watch out for that. Oh, we do have a new position quickly to talk about. It's not that, it's this, it's Oracle. This may fall asleep on us here, Oracle. Now that I took this, I actually was like, all right, like if we get up to the high of the day, that's 40 cents. But I was gonna hold this all the way back to VWAP, which is 20 cents. So I don't know. I thought the market was breaking, and we did have a good opportunity here, but it doesn't look like that opportunity is going to be legit. So we'll hold out for Oracle. We'll average in down here at 114, 113.90 to give it to there. But this is not like a super great trade, honestly. The market's now pulling back. We'll probably just have to start to get out of everything as Square trying to figure it out and a bunch of different things here. So yeah, so far so good, but kind of boring here in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think, by the way, the poll was like, it was 1,100 people voted, it was 57% for AMD higher. So, I mean, it's not 50-50, but it was pretty close. To me, if it's less than 60-40, then we're all undecided about where AMD is going to go. I think that's about right. Because, you know, price action like today, like the big run up and then the big Huadong today, that indicates that people are liking the risk off. And when they like the risk off, who knows?
Wait a minute, people said what?
It was 57% higher, 43. I voted lower, 57% voted higher for AMD.
I voted lower.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
What's interesting about when I said that about Intel, I just want to correct something I said. Oh, I just got trailed out of PayPal. So PayPal just failed to hold this higher low barely, so it's pretty easy hair trigger, I guess. Probably could have given it a couple more cents. But nice little bounce, and the reason for the bounce, I'm just going to zoom it out. Morning high, first break dipped right into 63.50, dipped a second time into 63.50. Let the market tell you where it's strong. But mentioning that Intel, when they had a bad Q, and then AMD said, nah, everything's absolutely fine. That was in October as well, and it was right down in here. Like, Intel reported their earnings on the 26th, was tanking into it, reported quite possibly, I don't know, you could probably pull up a clip from that day on our live show, and I was like ranting about how bad, it was really a bad quarter, but it was one of those, well, the worst is in kind of moments for Intel, and it actually signaled the turn. It was like, it was easily the worst is in, and that's the bottom. And then it's been on an absolute tear since, notwithstanding this last pullback on the last earnings. See how clear this is that the recent trend on Intel has turned? There's your 50 period holding underneath. There's your flat bottom break at 45, immediately rejecting and consolidating down. I don't know where the next bottom is going to be, but the 200 period sits at 37. I'll be looking for that level. If I see Intel looking like it wants to bounce off the 200 period moving average on the daily, then you can probably count me in. If I see it bounce, I think there's a trade there. Until then, still thinking short.
Yeah, I feel like staying short is the right thing to do. Square is now 30 cents in the money and still going down. Shout out to T-Money as well. Square is in the money with T-Money. What I was going to say about AMD was that 73 short. I don't know where it is now. Arga. All right, we should have looked at that. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It was just another level there that we came all the way back to 73. Ooh, we should have shorted that one. All right, well, there's
367
a missed opportunity. Okay, so 367 to sell. All right, so let's just look at this AMD trade again. Like, whenever you get back into this area, like, that's where we started shorting, and it was just like, wowie, downside. You know, that we should have kept going with it. We should have stayed in that spot and shorted it there at 173. If you guys were in it, that would have been a good spot to look at to get out. We were talking about everybody was going long down there, and those were fantastic. Like, those are the fantastic calls, man. I mean, nothing else really matters. You guys made these calls down there. To get it all the way up here is great. 172.50 was probably a great out. If you held for 173, even better. But look where it stops, like 173.10. There's that wick top. Not really huge volume, but look at that. There's a nice little buy volume spike there as well. So I just feel like there's a lot to happen today, and AMD is going to be super exciting heading into the close. So make sure you're there. AMD calls or puts would be my decision, but again, it's going to be expensive to trade them. So that would be my only thing. I don't know what the implied, well, we have it.
I thought you said 9.3.
That was last time. Let me just see what it's saying this time. Yeah. So 9.3. So 9.7 last.
Oh, I was just looking when you put it up.
No, that's good. Here it is right here. So oops, advanced micro. If I just keep it, if I keep it on here, we can see. October 31st. So yeah, down 2.1%. Then the very next day up 9.7. Then the day after down flat. So okay, so we'll see what happens with that. Alphabet was the thing that got clocked last time. Man, I can't keep putting it on there. Every time I put it here, if I put it over here, maybe there's Alphabet. You can see 9.5%, and then Microsoft up 3%. So those are the big names. We already had Pfizer after hour or before market. UPS as well was before market. There's Starbucks 10% last time, implied 6 this time. General Motors 9 against 4. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter. EA should be exciting as well coming through tonight. So yeah, man, it's earnings season, and today is one of the biggest, followed by Thursday, which has Meta and Apple and Amazon.
Yeah, look, from a pure market cap standpoint, I think everyone's like, okay, it's a Thursday, but this time around, like today is the day because of AMD's move, and then Microsoft's just been such a juggernaut. But for anyone still trading Mark, it just went to 150 and is kind of pulling back. It's now done 180 million in volume. It'll be interesting to see if this can, it's going to probably close above $1 unless something ridiculous happens in the next 20 minutes. So maybe this has continuation. The way that it traded off $1, that's the level I'll be watching, 1 to 110 tomorrow morning, because of this. Like the last sort of big consolidation at the dollar level was 1 to 110. So if we can hold on to that, I'm kind of always anticipating when a stock does this, it's going to have a pullback. And if it does, I think that would be the level to watch. I'm just trying to work out of Nicola. PayPal, I don't know if I'm going to get one more shot at this. It's starting to pull back into that 63.5. That's the level I like. So there's maybe 8 minutes until we get the imbalances. I wouldn't go long it here. I'd want it a little bit tighter to that 63.50. I got to have a tighter stop on PayPal to get in. We're able to get this a couple of times, and it is a mover this afternoon. So this is one I want to look for. If I'm going to make a trade late here today, should be in something that's going.
Oh, man, I was just like, this is hilarious. You might have heard me say that. I was just about to tap out of Oracle, honestly. And then this happened. Nah, I don't know. Wow, okay. All right, well, there it is. Oracle was not really expecting that, but there it goes. Well, we were expecting it. I'm just not expecting it now. The futures are doing nothing. So, yeah, we'll take it. Nice bump up for Oracle. It's that famous dime piece, upside. We're still waiting, like, if we can get 30, let's just put, where's my offer right now? I have an offer at 19, so okay. If we get to 19, let's just, okay. Print, dog. All right, missed it. All right, or did we get it? Did we get it there? No, we did not. All right, so if Oracle can go back to the upside, I mean, I don't know where we pulled that out of our, you know what, but there it is. It's Oracle, and it's trying to go back up. So thanks, Oracle, for that. We'll wait to see if we can get a 19. I was not really expecting it, but like we said, sometimes you look down and you get a little surprised.
Well, it's a good level. Like you look at that.
Yeah, I know, but just, I was surprised,
more,
like the market.
114.
Well, look. I mean, I would put it off. I didn't think it was a good level. You know what I'm saying? But no, I don't. The market is what I'm getting at. Like, there's no movement there.
No, not at all.
And then Oracle, all of a sudden, as if it was AMD or something, just shot right back up. This is a great, for me, I was like, do I really want to buy old tech? But we did buy some Oracle down here at 104, 107. I think it's 107.
I love their turnaround.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Their
so
turnaround
we'll
is
see. Small dividend.
They've done a really good job, and
what's
obviously
the implied move on my losses today? I don't know. Fufu won. Someone, Ken H, good name by the way, I guess. Ken H asked for the implied move there in AMD, and as Neil highlighted before, is 9.3%. You could just go. We're not affiliated, but it's Market Chameleon. So you could just go there. They take the front month options, and that's what that is. Wow.
Although if they want to slap their name on a sponsorship, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, they're more than able to do that.
Or send someone on that's going to talk some science. But
you're welcome, Nunya Biz.
Nunya, what up, Nunya? Oh, look, what up to a lot of people in here. Obviously, Jimbo Slice. I don't think I talked to you today, Jimbo. But you're asking about, I like this look on WDC. This is what I'm getting at. We talked about this as WDC being on earnings, one of the potential movers there. It's got the post-earnings level, and you're talking about this 58 if it can hold on. If AMD bombs, you're basically saying it's got the 58 level that it can hold on to. I would almost argue, like you look at this, and I'd say like 57 you could almost think about, because like there's your pullback on earnings. There's like a bit of a double bottom before. It's just about giving things a little bit more breadth, but this is 58. You're talking about where the buyers have been intraday. No argument there, but I think 57 is also pretty reasonable to give yourself some room. If AMD bombs and it holds that level, that's great. If AMD absolutely runs, you're not going to get a shot at that level, so you got to think about something else. But that's a good look. WDC, we talk about like earnings providing you with information. In this case, it's provided you with a temporary low.
Look at Nimit. It's 5 a.m. and he's looking forward to the market recap show. Nimit, man. Thanks for that. Like, what's everybody else's excuse? Traders stay late, traders stay early. His name is Nimit. Shout out to that. Let's go over to the desk and handle some business.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
There it is, IG. Shout out to Frank. Thank you, Frank. Nimit, did you get this long somewhere? Because on Mark, man, there's no, who knew, right? Who knew? Like it's ridiculous. I don't know.
I mean, it was a story, but
no, there was a story, but come on. At the moment, it felt like if it got to like, there was like, the 80 short was good. Like, you kidding me? Like that actually at the time. Like, why can't I zoom this? Oh, it doesn't matter. At the time, that felt like 80, maybe 80 to $1. It's trying to break the highs once again. And it also hasn't halted once. So the liquidity has been really good. The fact that this is doing this without halting, I think actually makes it pretty good. You got in at 98 and out at 110. Oh, you Nimit. So Nimit got in here and out
It is
there.
a pimp.
Well done, sir. Well done. Like those longs early, the 50 break was definitely good. The $1 break, fantastic. I don't know where this thing is going to be headed. It should be on your radar tomorrow if you're looking at small cap, but there's no guarantee it's going to do volume. These things have, sometimes you go one day and then the next day you can't go anywhere. I feel like we've gone a lot without talking about Apple. I'm just going to throw it out for Apple. Like you're still, like the penalty box is real for this name. Like even when the market just made that Frank bounce or like whatever name we're giving it, the 245 bounce, you're still on my 15-minute, you're putting in lower high, trend down. And this is not this ain't an AMD situation like the stock has gone too far too fast. Apple had not gone too far too fast. It's just not true, right? Like it is to me just pulling back to this 200 period moving average until proven otherwise. I'm probably running out of time for PayPal here. Doesn't seem like it wants to test that 63.50. So I don't know if we get a third trade on PayPal, but that's the one that I want. That's the one that worked. So I'm kind of holding out for an entry on that name. Could have just dip bought Mark. That would have worked out, but not my cup of tea.
The two trades, we only gave two trades this afternoon. One of them is right here with Square, so we'll do a check mark on that one. And then the other trade was Oracle, but the Oracle trade is, we just missed that at 30. We were at 30. We talked about, remember we said like, hey, can we get back into here? That was 40. So we sit at 30, obviously. If we're gonna sit at 20, we're gonna sit at 30. We miss it by a penny. So now maybe we're at 29 right now. So we'll wait to see if that can come back up. But those are
Why'd you whisper that?
I don't want to tell anybody because hopefully the market doesn't hear me say that we're at 114.29.
I love 29.
Right there, yeah.
Jesse Barfield.
I was going to say Jesse Barfield. Wasn't Fred McGriff, I feel like, was 20?
No, he, shoot, what was McGriff? Was he 15?
No, I don't think he was in the teens.
You might be right about that. He wasn't 29. Joe Carter was 29.
Yeah.
It was Barfield and Carter, the only were the Jays. I got to look it up.
Fred McGriff, crime dog.
I,
Maybe he was 16.
Super nice guy. I met him at Jay's. I'm actually trying to find it.
Let's go to images there.
Well, I can go, usually you go to this and it shows the numbers.
Anyways, okay. All right, crime dog there again.
Oh, he was not. You know what? He was 29 on other teams. He was 19 for the Jays, but he was dead on. He was
29. There we go.
He was 29 on. It looks like.
How do I even know that?
Three teams that were not the Blue Jays.
That's a fluke. I mean. Anyways, okay, 29. All right.
Super nice guy. There was a point in the chat. So whoever, I want to find you for Oxy. Good luck, because sometimes we talk about ideas and we don't necessarily follow through with them. So that's on me. Woo-ko. Oxy with the dip and rip today. Oxy with the dip and rip every day. Oxy with the dip and rip and dip and rip and dip and rip. You get the idea. Like every single day.
I did not get the idea. What was
now,
it
let me think about this for a second, because it's confusing to me that Occidental would get underneath the $60 level, tag that 55, 56 area, and then suddenly every single dip is getting bought. And I can't figure out what could possibly be happening with Occidental. I have absolutely no idea. But I'm pretty sure there's a pretty big investor, Uncle Warren, who might be involved in this one. Maybe he's buying it up again. He already owns 31%, but when I see a pattern like that, I don't wonder, like somebody is buying every available dip and then turning the program on once it's down on the day, and they did it again today. So if you're taking advantage of it, congratulations. We pointed this out the other day and then didn't do anything about it, which is just weird because it's pretty clean. I did recently buy Oxy down at 56, my personal account, for this effect, but I like it. You know, once it breaks the 200 period moving average, I'm looking to cover in the 60s. Grab a quick 20% and then hold some for the dream.
What is it at? What is that at, Oxy? Quick 20%?
No, I'm just telling you, I'm looking for 55 to 66, 67. Like that move. Like that's
a straight up move today, though. Wow.
It's only at 1% now, but the move has been giving you into the 60s off this 55. I mean, recently anyway. So we'll see what happens. You never really know. But I just know when it gets down to that 55, 56, there seem to be buyers. Mr. Meme saying, anybody get Rivian short? Although you spelt that
Spelled it short.
Yeah, this little short form, I like it.
SHRT.
S-H-A-R-T.
So short.
That's what Homer Simpson.
Yeah, I know, but
I am so smart.
yeah,
S-M-R-T.
That's why I said SHRT.
Yeah, I know.
I am going short. Okay, good call
It's
there. I
still
don't know
tanking.
what Rivian was at there for that call.
New fresh low.
New fresh low. Okay, well then the short is good. I mean, you can't lose if it's new and it's fresh. You could be so fresh and so clean with this Oracle trade as well and get out now. I'm still going to wait for 30. We only have 1 minute less than here, and we got to get that out of Dodge because like if these imbalances come through and are not in the positive light, then some of these trades will come out. We are out of 75%, a little bit, 70% of Oracle. Hopefully that'll come up and we'll be able to fill it, get that bucket filled up there. And we're getting out of everything else, man. Apple, we already have some of our stops. We'll just wait to see what happens. Brendan brought it to us earlier. It was 367 to sell. So now we'll wait to see what's coming out in only 10 seconds. We will get this imbalance and then we will see where we go from here. Let's just look at Apple then. Our stop on Apple is 188.30. So here we go. It's Enbridge to the downside. It's Lucid with a sell, but Lucid saying hold my beer and not really doing anything. Intel with a sell. Okay.
Shocking.
Amazon. All right, I'll just attend my positions, but honestly, I don't see much happening. My net is basically staying the same. We could just get out of Apple right here. What's the point of getting stopped out at this point? We'll probably do that. Square is not doing much. Oracle is trying to go back up, but not really. It's just hovering around. So I feel like we got to get ready for the market recap show, but Oracle, boom, that was huge right there. And then Square was nice as well. It's too bad. We were waiting for a little bit lower than that on Square, but, you know, no love for that as, you know, the market just going up and down. Good day so far. What is Microsoft on close? We can have a quick look. Is it going to go green is the question here before. Yes. Remember we said Microsoft would go green? There it is, man.
Almost.
It's basically green. Huge move. We were right with the longs. These shorts were not, but we got taken out during that melee that happened earlier on today. So there's Microsoft. This is the name. This is the Mag 7 name that I like the most. So would not be a surprise if they beat. It's Microsoft.
They're old school, baby. Because when we started trading, Microsoft was the only one of these top 7 names that was top back then. Like it was a top 10 market cap name back then, and it's still on top. That is not normal. That just means that the company is good. I just got out of Nikola. It stopped going. If you're not paying attention, you have Brian Shannon coming on, but at least once a day, I feel like at least once a day, we are talking about a trend stock that pulls in the middle of the day into VWAP in whichever direction, and it either fails VWAP for a short or it bounces off VWAP for a long, and there's one to the short side, and I know I can show you another one to the long side. There's Rivian. It ultimately doesn't hold it the second time through, but there's your midday bounce off VWAP on a trending stock to the upside. It's just a setup. And the only thing I got in my chart is volume and VWAP. And generally for that reason, the imbalances, as Sean mentioned, came out there, but there was like Lucid 1.6 million to sell. You have to remember Lucid.
Google's at the low of the day.
Like Lucid is done, like what's it done? 100 million shares on the day. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know about any of these stocks right now, but look at Google. Thanks for someone pointing it out right there. Google's tanking right there. Shout out to NFT giveaways. I'll take one. Right there. Bye-bye, 150, 150. I mean, we were short. Google's going to be P&L-wise. Meta's my first trade. Google's my next. Apple, they're all kind of the same. Apple, I mean, so here we go today. Apple, short. I mean, come on. Maybe I should tweet that out. Affirm was huge. AMD, ARM, these are all positive trades. Google, I mean, wow, that's really coming in. Meta, come on now. Microsoft is red on the day. We talked about that. Oracle, out. That's going to be a green name, right? Palantir, the second red name. So we traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 names, and we will go 9-2 today for that. So a decent day right there. And the last ones to wrap it up, obviously Square. We just talked about that. And then Uber from the morning was pretty good until we got out for flat there on that move back in. Wow, 66. Good level. We'll look at that tomorrow. But thanks everyone for watching. We're going to get locked and loaded for the Meta's also tanking. Yeah, I mean,
The market's pulled.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous about these earnings, and we'll sort of hold hands and take you
everything's
guys
at
through.
highs.
That's the problem. I think everything is so perfectly planned to beat, but I do expect Microsoft to beat and Google, even though Google was down 10% their last earnings call and now is at all 52-week highs. So we'll see.
GC in the chat was just saying, how come no one's talking about Starbucks earnings?
Yeah, well, that's
Well, that's not, we did mention it's a 2-hour show. There's a lot of things that are moving around, but we talked about it twice, Starbucks. And don't worry, because in about 6 minutes, I just checked my clock, 5.5 minutes to be more correct.
Exact, yeah.
You're going to get the market recap show where you can ask about Starbucks. And again, all the earnings names are, I think this was 6% expected volatility. Most people that are trading, they're like, oh my goodness, Google, possible double digits, AMD, possible double digits. That's where the excitement is sometimes for traders. But you don't sleep on something like Starbucks. And by the way, Starbucks with quite the liquidity grab this morning at the open. Sometimes you see stuff like this. If you can catch one of these dumps when it starts going up, that is wild, especially when it puts in the higher low. Like, I wasn't watching Starbucks today. Obviously, you guys know that. But the stock has been under more pressure than I realized. I hadn't looked at this daily chart in a while. I'm looking for, I don't want the stock to go down, but I really like the notion of the 84, 85 area if it gets down there. When a stock's underneath the 200 period for the long term, I want like a big key historic consolidation level, like one where the buyers were just absolutely loving the stock and it went on a run. Otherwise, I would rather buy it on strength, not on weakness. So that, to me, that's that 84, 85 zone for Starbucks. Still got about 4 minutes to go. All positions canceled. All my stops are double checked. All my stops are canceled. I do think I want to play for some continuation tomorrow on PayPal. At least, like, it never set up the third opportunity for me for the long, but it's holding higher lows. Oftentimes, you'll get flash news on a stock, it gives it back, and then we're not closing higher. It's going to close up from that 63-quarter, which ends up being VWAP. It's going to hold the 200 period moving average, even if ever so barely. The caveat here is Microsoft, Alphabet, AMD. If you take enough of the wind out of the sails in the market, it's not going to matter how good a long setup you like. So I want this on strength, but if there's not enough strength in the market, then I might not get a chance. I love the fact that it's put in some higher lows since the event. Every single day has been a fresh higher low, and then now another higher high. So it's been trending since they had that dump fest of whatever event they called it, AI, yada, 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 change the world and shock the world stuff, which didn't shock anybody except for the bid on that day. So I like PayPal, just has to be a decent setup for us. And then we're going to be right back on over to some of the chip names. Going to rinse and repeat things like Intel, although I still think this has a chance to hold on to that 43 level. AMD is going to be the big one. There's no question about it. AMD in a strangle, Cody says there. Ben Ruggiano saying Traders Super Bowl today. That's interesting. I think it's close. It's never easy to peg which is the biggest day for earnings. I'm holding out for NVIDIA. So I had this feeling, and maybe AMD just does it for us, but I had this feeling that NVIDIA is going to be like not the widow maker, but the truth maker is going to be when AMD reports, when NVIDIA reports, and we got to wait for them. So my money would be on them not necessarily being, like I said, a widow maker, but I think the truth comes out on NVIDIA earnings. I think you still get a bunch of good news at how much spend is going on through all of their customers, and we're going to get a couple of them tonight with obviously Alphabet and with Microsoft. So my money's that NVIDIA is going to turn these things, but it could easily happen tonight. Not going to discount that whatsoever. And Three Kings Media, there will not be a 2008 crash after the bell. Nepa. It's not going to happen. Things like that. Everyone likes to try to predict, like, it's going to be the biggest crash ever. It usually isn't. That's not the kind of thing that you'll see. But I do suspect that one of these big names is going double digits. My money would be on AMD. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Alphabet. It would surprise me a bit if it was Microsoft. But if the writing was on the wall, they showed you risk off on AMD today. A lot of risk off, and a heavy selling was the other part of it. Just to double check on these imbalances, as I said, there wasn't really anything big individually. Worth mentioning that the banks did end up strong and then came in with a couple of sell imbalances. So some money coming out at the top on what was a very strong day for the banks. I'd say a bit of a disappointing. I thought you kind of could have had some imbalances on some of the earnings names that we had. Oh, 1 minute ago, I forgot about this today. I think Sean might have mentioned DraftKings. Sean, did you mention DraftKings today? Yeah, it's... So, oh, come on, Daily Chart. Okay, this is frustrating. There we go. DraftKings is sustaining that breakout on the daily here. So it's through that 39. It's held above 40. The only thing is it didn't exactly scream away. I'll go to it. It didn't exactly scream away from those highs. So it's held the 40 level, but it's not running away from that price. It's like a slow-moving breakout. But Rivian did something like this similarly. So I want to have an eyes on DraftKings over 40 if it can hold these bids. It wasn't much of a breakout yesterday, more of a failed break, but this should be on our radars tomorrow, closing up 1%. I knew there was something I wanted to get to that I hadn't, but get the camera off me, throw it on Adara. The Super Bowl of earnings is coming through in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. And now the market is closed. Obviously, you guys know what happened overall. The NASDAQ ends up down 0.7. The ES not looking good either. AMD down 3%, and we're going to have their report after market. Shout out to you, Fabian and Ramin, doing a great job. As a matter of fact, like right now, getting things set up for the market recap show. Great midday as always. Thank you to Sharif and Adair. There were movers, there were shakers, there were big caps, there were small caps, and you were learning about gap moves as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Got to thank Frank. Frank always doing a fantastic job every Tuesday, every Thursday. We're going to get him back again on Thursday post-Fed earnings, which is always a great chance to be able to talk to him. And then this morning, I want to thank Jeff Mendel, as always, for coming through and talking about the OTC markets. We have Brendan giving us news all day long and doing those fantastic interviews. But you know what's up. You know what time of day it is. It's past 4 o'clock. You got Starbucks? Okay. You got Alphabet. You've got Microsoft, you've got AMD, all of those monster earnings tonight. Implied moves anywhere from 6% to almost 10% movers and shakers. None of them have come out early, except for I think Microsoft actually might have come out here. That spike, before we go on, I did not see the numbers on Microsoft, but there was a vol spike that took it $6 or $7 upside. So I haven't seen anything across the wire just yet. They're all right just now. Let's get to Sean at the desk. You got the market recap show. Microsoft is now out.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Market Recap Show. We're ready to rock and roll, and if you are, so am I. Right now, Microsoft up to 404, 405, and starting to go. These damn shares, what the... Oh my God, disaster strikes. What else is new? All right, there goes Microsoft at 408. Let's go. This show is brought to you by Benzinga. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I don't have anything on Softy yet, but it is moving around right now. We'll get it as soon as Benzinga has it right now. Microsoft up to 415, now back down to 408. Thank you so much. Welcome to the recap show. You can see what we're going to talk about today. It's AMD, it's Microsoft. You can't see it, but it's Google. We should have that scroll, actually. Google and then Starbucks, and as soon as we see them come across the board, we will have that right now for you. Check out to see if AMD is out. Thank you, everybody, for being here right now. I do not see AMD. This is a 1 minute chart down here. As this starts to move, we'll have more stuff for you. Who's here with me right now? Quickly, it's roll call time. Get this out of here. Close that poll. Hey, everybody. Nice to see ya. Thank you, everybody, for coming through again, as we'll do a roll call in a bit. But right now, it's AMD, it's Microsoft. We're going to wait for them all. I have Benzinga Pro here. We also have this brought to you by Trade Ideas. Let's just stop it, start it, refresh, and let's get going. Anything moving here in the aftermarkets will show up on our little scanner. Here's Microsoft 407. I'm going to assume we are not out yet, as not much has been happening. I'm still looking, guys. We have Benzinga Pro right here. As it hits, we will drop that for you immediately. Today, URA. Hey, what's up to Michael Noss? We had him on yesterday, and we were talking all about URA. He likes this name, uranium, back up to the upside. OIH today, Downside, of course, that's going to be oil. I'm still looking. As soon as something hits, everybody, I will get that for you. Thank you to everybody who's watching. We now have more people watching now than we did on the afternoon show. So bang right there. Thank you so much for everybody joining. We are also live on Twitter right now. So man, we're ready to rock and roll. We're just waiting for earnings to hit. And when they do, we will have that brought to you by Benzinga Pro. There's Google. Google is out. Let's go over to see what Google's doing right now. SpaghettiOs, Google downside. Microsoft is out as well. Google right now, 164, beating 159. We've seen Google make moves down last earnings. Let's see where that goes right now. It's also showing Softy with a beat. Do we want stocks to beat? I don't know. There goes Softy down to 404 right now. So it's Google and Microsoft, the two names that are out. Google down 143 and counting right now for Google. It's on the mat. Can it get back up? Let's go find out. Google right now, all we have is the EPS, 164 versus 159. It might not be clear moving forward for Google. Are they guiding? We'll find out as soon as that hits on Benzinga. But where are we buying this name? Hey, let's take a little trip down memory lane. What about the 50 period? 138.75. Watch out for that. All we're doing is pulling back, man, for Google. We've just pulled back into 140. Google with a downside push. All I have is EPS. As far as Microsoft is out. We talked about that. Microsoft pulling down right now, down 2%. Let's go find out why. Let's call back Benzinga again. Here we go. 293 EPS for Microsoft, beats sales, beating. Why are we going down? Anybody that's around here can maybe help me find that out. Benzinga to the downside right now. Google to the downside. Microsoft to the downside. Is AMD out yet? No, it is not. Is Starbucks out? Take a Starbucks. Right now, Starbucks not out. There's no way that's an out. 92 down there for Starbucks. So here it is. Microsoft coming with an idea here from Benzinga again. We'll watch it. This is the 1 minute chart. Right here. There's Starbucks is out. Intelligent cloud revenue up, it looks like. 25, that's good, man. They want that cloud revenue. Productivity, 19 billion. Personal computing revenues, 25 billion. Google Cloud Services revenue, 76. Starbucks, let's go find out. They miss. I told you, I don't know where Starbucks is going, but I said the risk to Starbucks was the consumer. We do not want consumer names. We talked about that. Consumer right now, maybe weak, maybe strong. You want enterprise names. You want names that are selling to businesses, not Starbucks selling to me and Adara and Ramin. You want the consumer names out of your portfolio into names that are industrial names, selling to bigger companies. I like the industrials, and I do like Google, Microsoft, Meta, all of them. But right now, there's a downside push for Starbucks, ending the day at $95, now pushing into 90. That goes Starbucks. Now making a move back upside. Let's go see if Benzinga has anything else on Starbucks right now. Oh man, traders stay late. You guys are staying with me, man. This is a busy one. There's Alphabet today. Cloud revenue, 9 billion. Global sales up 5%. America up 7%. Shout out to everybody in North America helping that out. What's up to everybody here in the chat? Bang for joining me, but let's go over and look at some stocks. Right now it's AMD. We have Brian Shannon coming. We're going to ask him all about all these prints. Right now, AMD down to 169, not out. Microsoft, are we holding on to 4 bills or what? Microsoft touches 401. 384, yeah, you can pull back a lot more for Microsoft. I'm not excited about many of these names until we get into levels, and we can come look at Microsoft right here. 380, 350, that's what I like. That would also be the 50 period. Let's just see what Google's doing as well. Google pushing, that sucks, man. Google down 5. Remember, last quarter, Google was down 9%. We just touched highs for Google, now pulling back for that name. So it's Google, it's Microsoft, and it's Starbucks. The big names are out. Is AMD out? No, I do not see AMD. So those of you talking on the chat here, I do not see AMD out. This market is exciting to trade. What else is out? It's Mondelez right now. If you did want to see some of the names that were moving around today, normally we do sector watch. What am I going to say to you guys? Gold, blah, 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 0.1. That's nice. SPY down today. Q's down today. The reason why the market was down, we had a nice push down in Apple. I'm worried about Apple. We had Chinese A Chinese analyst came out today and said 30 to 40% less iPhone shipments over the last couple weeks. It's Hydration Nation, what's up? All right, there we go. Get down, AMD, we're waiting for that. 4:15, they're saying AMD comes out. But Google and Microsoft are pulling back in right now. Let's see if there's any more news on this. Anything here that we see that we want to talk about, I'm going to hit it for you. Hawaiian Holdings? Nah. Let's go. Starbucks right now. Active memberships, 34 million, whatever, up 13%. We're not worried about that. It's the sales numbers here for Starbucks that are setting this down. Globally, 5%. North America, 7%. Must be lower than expected there for the biggest and the baddest coffee chain out there. That is Starbucks. But Google's trying to hold out right now, 144. Nice downside push for Google. Here's that Apple trade that we talked about a little bit earlier. We actually shorted this. Let's go down to... Actually, let's just zoom out a little bit here on Apple. Or not. There it is. So here's Apple from 191, man. I know Neil was shorting this baseline there. That was good. We didn't play it until we broke 190. And it just kept on going the rest of the day. So Apple today sort of giving people an indication of what could possibly happen to some of these names. Apple touched, what was it, 198? 196.50, pulling back to 187. Not great there for Apple. EA Sports is out. A lot of us like EA Sports. Nice downside move for EA into 128. Again, EA Sports, I like the name because it's in the game. Also, the fact that you're pulling back into this 135 level right there. I wonder about that buyout potential. I mean, you had Activision Blizzard with Microsoft. We'll see if that's hitting Microsoft's numbers as we get that report tonight. Obviously, though, we'll talk about Activision. We said that they were going to lay off a couple of their gaming positions there for the physical gaming, going into more cloud space. But EA could be on somebody's watch again. Anytime you pull back, that's the 200 period, 129.30. Look at that bottom, 128.14. EA Sports, it's in the stock, and it's downside right now for that name. Let's just quickly go. Is AMD out? No, it is not. But Microsoft is out. I do want to talk to Brian about Microsoft. Where can we possibly pick up some softy on these dips down? This is a major name. It's the largest position in the S&P 500 percentage-wise. It's the largest holding in the NASDAQ. So let's just quickly check out if we're getting a pullback in the NASDAQ a little bit. I mean, this is not going to be a big effect, but down to 424 and change. We'll find out about that. There are some trades that... traders will put on, and that is like a hedge with the NASDAQ. So if you're a little bit nervous about Microsoft earnings, but you're not sure of the way, you can actually play NASDAQ options and put on like maybe a straddle or a butterfly one way if you're nervous about it, instead of maybe calling out your shares or putting it on individually. Because we have Microsoft today, the biggest, and then we have Apple on Thursday. So consider doing some of that. If you're interested in it. But right now, there's the pushback down for the Qs. Let's just go check on Google. Again, another big piece, down to 144. I'm going to be buying some Google tomorrow, honestly, into 139, 140. You know, we've been raising some cash with NVIDIA, although that looks stupid. Well, not really. This is where we sold it. But NVIDIA still, huge moves, man. Any downside push. And guess what? NVIDIA is about to get super spicy because we are minutes away. And I just want to thank everybody for watching, man. Look at this. 4,700 people right now online. Let's do a bang for that. Let's just do a quick roll call. If you're here, we're going to celebrate this. This is the largest watched audience of all time for any market recap show, period. I made that part up. But for us, yes, probably higher than CNBC. No one even watches that show. They have some guy up there talking. I don't even know what he's talking about right now. There it is. Okay. What's up, Toilet Brush? What's up, Ben? What's up, Llama Mama? Hey, what's up? He said my name. That's nice. What's up to Wuko? What's up to Jason, Tom's Trades? Look, we have the best in the business coming up very, very soon with Brian Shannon. So you think that this show is great right now? It's about to get leveled up. Give me 5 minutes and we'll bring that guy on. Great show. Thank you so much. What's up to Mitch? What's up to Rob, EV, Magic 8 Ball? You love lasagna as well? So do I, my paisan. You don't have to be Italian to love lasagna. Lasagna is, I mean, classic right there. Quick check on Google. Again, if anything does come through, here we go. Let's just see what's going on in the stock. So Google's hanging around 144. What does Benzinga say? They say this right now. Alphabet, YouTube ad revenue, 9.2 billion. I think these guys paid 10 billion for YouTube. Pardon me. Now, quarterly ad revenue is 10 billion. Unbelievable Google, man, with YouTube. Alphabet, Google Search, and others. Oh, it's only 48 billion for the quarter. There's not even that many names that have the market cap of 48 billion, okay, guys? And Google is just brushing that off their shoulder for quarterly revenues on their search. There it is, advertising, higher. We talked about why we liked Google, better advertising numbers. If you're gonna advertise, where else are you going? I'll tell you, Meta and Google. Buy those damn dips if you can. Match Group is out right now. If you do not have a match, go over to Match. Match right now, 0.81 versus an estimate, 0.49. I don't even know. I mean, they're a dating site, right, I guess. MTCH right now, shout out to my wife. I got 99 problems. Matching ain't one for me. $36. Nice move to the downside right now as we pull back in there. 35, maybe a level for Match Group, but we ain't too interested in that. Hey, we are minutes away from advanced micro devices, so you're in the right spot right now with me. I'm going to try to load up my trading software, see if I can get that going right now, because if we can, we would want to see live quotes from AMD as well. So right now, 171 AMD. We're waiting for that. If anything pops through, let's just check Google on those ad revenues. I like them. I think it's great. I'd be buying this dip, man. I like that 140 dip for Google. All right, my software is loading up. Here it is right now, AMD. 171.80. We are moments away. As soon as we load it up, as if it's advanced micro devices, and it is clocked down to the downside, 164 for AMD. What does that look like on a chart, man? You're now rocking with the best. You're rocking with me. It's AMD, and we are downside on advanced micro devices, down to 162. Oops, Brittany, but we did it again. We told you there was problems with AMD. The minute we started to break down, we were like, that's gonna be a short. Let's see if it holds. Where are the numbers? Benzinga don't have them, but we have a live quote right there, 165, pushing down for AMD. This is like a drop in the water, guys. This just goes back to last week, ho-hum, but it's advanced micro devices, and we are out right now. What is this doing to NVIDIA, guys? NVIDIA right now. Who else is going to show you a live level 2? Answer, ain't nobody. You're walking with the best. We've already talked about that. There's NVIDIA, nice downside move for NVIDIA, 625. They're actually holding out pretty well as AMD right now, 166.65. And here are the numbers. And Mr. Shannon, I'm calling on you very, very soon. Let's just get this going. Advanced micro devices right now, Q4 EPS 77 cents in line. Okay, so we're cool. We're cool. It's in line. Sales rate there, 6.2, beating the estimate. For me, this is all irrelevant until we see the guide. But AMD right now is coming right back up to the upside on that move. So if you bought that dip, you just saw it live, man. We touched down here to 160. If that's not a touchdown, then maybe you got to watch out for Travis Kelce possibly making some more touchdowns in the Super Bowl, because Taylor Swift era. Nice. I still think San Francisco wins, though. I don't know. What do you guys think in the Super Bowl? Downside move for AMD. There it is right now. AMD sees revenues, Q1 revenue. Okay, so here we go. This is the important thing. There's the down guide. So 5.1 to 5.7. Come on, Lisa Sue. What are you doing to us? That's too wide of a range right there. 5.1 to 5.7 versus 5.28. So it's actually a better guide because, I mean, is it? I would have liked to see a solid number. The bottom of that is lower than the estimate, but the high side is much higher. So again, back and forth with AMD, a little push, a little pull. I was saying that you were quite insane possibly to trade anything there off the number, but that's a nice move down. You got that 160 if anyone bought that. If Brian comes on here and says the anchor VWAP was 160, the show's over. That's it, because that was a great bottom there, and I hope he hears me because he's probably going to go find that right now. All right, if we are ready, let's call him up. I just want to quickly look at Google before we do, because there's some talk about Google right now. 144 downside. Mr. Softy is... Oh yeah, Microsoft bounces nicely back up to the upside. I told you, this is the one that I want to buy on weakness. I want to buy Microsoft and I want to buy Google. I want to buy Meta. So right there, Google gives us that opportunity at 402. Let it settle down. Tesla in the aftermarket, I know. Sean, Tesla didn't report, but that doesn't matter. I just want to see what they're doing here as the NASDAQ's making moves down. And then everybody's favorite coffee chain, although sucks. That's pretty funny, that comes up. Starbucks right there. Okay. Wow, Starbucks really getting bought up from that little level there. So what did Starbucks talk about? We'll find out more about that. But AMD is everyone's cup of coffee right now. AMD makes that move back down to 160. Now a nice move back up. All right, if he's ready, he is. It's Trader Talk. Hey, Brian, we're lucky enough to have you here. I said a comment there because that NVIDIA trade last time went down to 470. It basically stopped on a dime and ripped back up. And then I called you and you're just like, hey guys, the anchor VWAP was about 471 and that was a huge move down. First of all, Brian, how's your day?
Good day. I was busy. I had too much stuff going on. Not enough, too many distractions from the market, but good day anyway.
Okay, well, yeah, hey, you're here anyway, and we thank you for that. Hey, over 4,700 watching. This is a record. So we're also streaming live now on Twitter or on X, and everyone can go find you at Alpha Trends, of course. All right. That was a nice move down for AMD. AMD and these chip names, as everybody is talking about them, right? We had Intel with a little bit of a disappointment, SMCI, rocket chips to the northbound. Anything you're seeing on AMD looks like it's pulling back, now down 6% on advanced micro devices. What do you have for us, Brian?
Sean, as soon as you said AMD is out, I had my chart there. I was like, Sean, come on, pull up my chart. Let's look at this together.
Yes.
I bought a little bit. I did something I don't typically do, which is to buy some, not as it was pulling back, but I got some at 162.25. I'm out. By the way, I scalped it. If you can look at my screen, we came down to the year-to-date anchored VWAP.
Well, we'll go over there.
We sliced through it by just a small amount.
1 second, Brian.
75 cents. But that's where the buyers were. So it tells me the message here on the 30-minute chart that I'm looking at on my right.
I'll call it up for 30 minutes for you, Brian. Right now, we are having a little bit of a problem calling up your screen, but here's a 30-minute chart down here. So maybe talk to this.
So what I always look at is the year-to-date anchored volume-weighted average price and from significant lows. Those are both basically in the same place. In fact, if you put an anchor on the year-to-date low, it's within 50 cents of the year-to-date. So I was looking at the year-to-date anchor.
Okay.
And that is right now at 161.50.
1 second, Brian. We're going to, we have it fixed. We figured out the problem. There it is. There's Brian Shannon's screen. All right.
Okay.
So let's go.
So
show it, Brian.
The purple is from the low this year, which, as I said, it's basically in the same place and just giving a little bit more room to the year-to-date anchor. You can see here the year-to-date anchor, basically 161.50. The low on this pullback, 161.73. So within 75 cents on $160 stock, that's where we pulled down to. So when I identify that level right here as a level of interest, we did it for Microsoft today as well. But as it got down there, and this is a 1-minute chart, it was fast. I bought some right actually at 162.38 right over here on the way back up. And I got out, not even there. I got out with 2.5 points or so because I was just looking at it as a scalp. Anyways, that's your level. And now we're back positive for the day and like it didn't exist.
Wow, that AMD is, like you just mentioned there, we are on one now, back up to 174 and change and starting to rip back up. Man, did you nail that at 162. Wow, Brian, incredible. And again, anchored VWAP. Some charting platforms will have it, some do not. But if they do not, make sure you request it. That was a great little look there. And then Microsoft, you mentioned a little bit of love for MSFT down there as well. This name's a little more interesting to me, Brian, here, because in the after hours, we're kind of just like dancing here. So we make that bottom at 400, then back up to 415. So I was a little focused there on AMD and the execution because we're back up to the upside. Let's just talk quickly. You said you put a year-to-date anchor on Microsoft. We've got this screen sharing, so let's go over there and have a quick look.
Yeah, I had posted this on Twitter earlier today as a level that, we've had this huge rally just recently in Microsoft. I said, we have the possibility of a buy the rumor, sell the news. And if that's the case, I came into this with no position at all. The two levels I was going to look at were right here, the anchor from the beginning of that real move, the break higher. That's where we broke out. So I put an anchor there. That was the event. And if that were to fail, then the year-to-date anchor would have been the next level below that I would have looked for. Instead, we we had a little bit of volatility as you showed, but we're just dancing around unchanged. So very impressive action. We didn't get that same type of knee-jerk sell-off as we did in AMD.
That's so funny about these earnings. Like they're just so all over the place. Like, I mean, if we just get that kind of a move in AMD, a little bit nervous for NVIDIA to see where that one goes. Another name that I've really liked is Google. I mean, I love the space. Their Pixel, YouTube has been pretty hot as well lately. So we'll come over to my screen and maybe I'll let you load up Google. But a great move down. My basic mind says I like this 140 area, and we did dip down a little bit. We got to 143.50. This is just a 50-period moving average. I really like this, like the resistance turning into support here at 144 a day trade. We did have Google last earnings though, Brian, get down about 9% before making the move back up. So right here, Google down and hovering around 145. It looks like this is going to be the worst performer out of the three here. Are you seeing anything with those anchors on Google?
I am. So we, kind of the same story. It's the year-to-date anchor right now that's kind of, we're bouncing around. Now, it's not nearly as valuable as it was in AMD, but you'll also notice on the left, on the daily time frame, that year-to-date anchor is also right there at the 20-day moving average. So a lot of people look at that, of course. We have the prior resistance. It seems highly likely that we're going to hold above this 141 breakout. I personally, wouldn't buy this, unless I was looking to scalp it, which right now it looks like, the buyers aren't convinced so far. And the anchor from the earnings report, which I just put on this 1-minute chart, this in the shaded area is after hours. So the sellers are, dominating and defending that anchor. So there's clearly someone big feels there's a reason to get out. And now if we take a look at, well, what about the anchor from the low? Kind of interesting that we're pinching between those. So I view that as right in here. If you were really a scalper, I would short below here with a stop above that. Or if it gets higher, buy above here with a stop under that level. That's for a real scalper, which I know you guys do a lot of that during the day. But after markets, that's generally not my game. I made an exception in AMD today.
That was literally exactly what I was going to say. That looks like my trades, where you get sort of that barcode action and you're waiting for the break. Check this out, Brian. Here, AMD, on the VWAP that I have, this is just a standard one. We just bounced off of just a generic VWAP there at 174 for advanced micro devices. I want to thank everybody, man.
For the day, yeah.
4,500 watching right now. Thank you so much to everybody. There's AMD bouncing off that, Brian. So what a great move that was, as you're down now 3%. But there's that VWAP move back in. And this is what I did today. Look at this. One set, like it was either go long or break lower there for advanced micro devices. And now we're starting to give a little bit back right there. Let me just check in before we go back to you just real quick. Microsoft, just want to see what the current movements are. So back down to 406. We'll watch out for that anchor down there at 401. And then Starbucks was a funny one. $90 again. You're going to show me something, Brian, that I'm going to be impressed with. I know that about anchor VWAP probably here on Starbucks. But look at this level on my screen. I mean, that 90 was pretty good, man, all the way back. So if we call up even a weekly chart on Starbucks, I kind of like that. And again, maybe this catalyst, there's the $90 hold, goes back. It was support. I guess it was resistance there, back down. Then we broke it and made that move back up. I really like this 190 level. And there we go again, trying to go back up, hitting that 97. Good report for Starbucks. Looks like it wants to break. Good level there at 90. I wish I would have bought it.
I'm not a big fan of Starbucks, truthfully, Sean. It just kind of has been doing a whole bunch of nothing and just really choppy action the last couple of years, really. Yeah. It's running into the declining 50-day moving average right here at 97. That might hold it back a little bit. So, the thing I really want to point out here today, looking at all these charts that we've just looked at of all these big leaders, we've been able to find, and it's not retrofitting, but we've been able to find value with the anchored VWAP in every single one of them. If you know where to anchor, and it's basically just that there's price memory there, and the institutions will defend those levels like they did at AMD as it comes down to the year-to-date anchor. And as you just pointed out with Google, we ran up to the daily VWAP, and that's where it encountered some supply. It's really amazing to see these levels in action, and especially in real time.
The one thing that I know both you and I will always consider, trading is one thing. Risk managing, to me, is what it's all about. I mean, me and you can, and just like you said, sometimes it will seem like we're just cherry picking, but these are the rules that we follow. You know, we look for these levels, we follow the rules, and if you follow the rules, it's very easy to then justify putting on more shares or whatever, because you've seen this happen before. You have a percentage that you're expecting. Like that scalp that you made, absolutely fantastic there on AMD. I'm gonna ask you one more name.
Well, I was gonna say real quick, I wasn't following my general rules, so it was much smaller share size, just to reemphasize the fact that risk management is so important. If you're gonna do something outside of your normal, well, to do so with smaller share size. And don't do the woulda, shoulda, coulda. Wow, if I bought this many shares, right? Can I get a bang?
I mean, you can get much more than that. There we go. You got one of those. Okay, look, no, that's exactly the point. And I talk about that on the show all the time. I say this is a starter position. I don't like this until it gets to a certain level, and then I'll put on many more shares. The problem is just like you said, you do that woulda, coulda, shoulda thing, like, oh man, I wish I put a full default when you get an $8 winner like that, but you can't really do that. You got to look at it. All right. A name that people are saying, go woke, go broke. We're not doing politics on here though, Brian. Disney. So I'm gonna give you a second. Could you look up Disney? Their report comes on February 7th. So come over to my screen right here, Fabian. No, come to mine. We'll let Brian look at that for a quick second. There it is. So Disney right now trying to break out on the daily. We're hovering around 96.50, Brian. I think we can break that. Again, for me, we bounced off the 200 simple. I really like that. That was also at a key level of $90. Disney, February 7th, coming out with earnings. Look, I just feel that we had Netflix. I don't know if you watch WWE or not, or Netflix, but they just had a pretty big deal there with TKO. Their Monday Night Raw was going to be $5 billion. So that's going to now go on to Netflix moving forward. I expect some to be done with ESPN, which is a Disney holding as well. ABC's a Disney holding. Hulu's a Disney property. I think they have some deals with, there's somebody else involved in that as well. But the idea here with Disney is, I think there's some catalysts. I don't love the name, but can we get a break to $100? Please tell me 104 is in sight. I don't know. What does it look like on Disney? I know I'm pulling at straws.
I can see it, Sean. Here's why. When we look at this weekly chart, you know, I've been kind of picking on Disney the last year and a half, because it's done nothing but go down. And every time we've had these bounces, and some of them have been pretty good sized bounces, but these bounces, they've all failed. And they typically will fail when you have this, a declining 40-week or 200-day moving average. So now when we look at that distribution up here and then the stage 4 decline, then we have all these moving averages crisscrossing, which represents stage 1 accumulation. It tells me now it's getting ready to move higher. Now, the 40-week moving average is still declining, but this vertical line right here, this is where we were 40 weeks ago. So in other words, next week, we get rid of this data in the 40-week. This will be week 40, and this will be week 1 next week. That means that 40-week or 200-day moving average is going to start to rise ever so slightly. And then as we get rid of this data over here, it will continue to do so. So that tells me that if they didn't scare you out, they've worn you out. Now we're in a position where we're above all these key moving averages. It's maybe a little bit extended with these 3 weeks higher, the last 3 weeks. So maybe a little pullback first. You said February 7th, I think. Yeah. Maybe a little pullback, and then buy that strength right there and sell it into the earnings would be the way I would be looking for a trade on Disney.
Yeah, so a week Wednesday there. Yeah, no, that's what I was nervous about, was just the extension over the last couple of days. Brian, I looked out and I see the time and it's 4:32. We got to go, but I got to say thank you so much for coming through. The time just flies. I mean, we could do this forever and forever, forever.
I know.
I just want to thank you as well. You put out that tweet, retweeted that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We spend a lot of time on that, and I want to thank you for doing that. I'd love to have you on. We'll try to arrange that if we can. That's a lot of fun, and I want to thank you for sharing that as well, Brian.
Congrats. That was episode 11, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, good.
There it is. We'd love to have you on, and we'll arrange that. But thank you so much. We had a record number of viewers right there. Here's his book. Hold on a second. I got it because we have, damn it. I'm dropping it. There it is. Here we go. Anchor, I gotta get the title proper because people are gonna Google this now. Maximum Trading Gains with the Anchored VWAP. Of course, it's Brian Shannon. Fantastic book. Some of the stuff we just talked about, it's all in here. Go find that at Alpha Trends. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you, everyone, all the viewers, and thank you, Sean, and everyone at Trader TV.
Thank you so much, Brian. There it is. It's Trader Talk. Okay. Look, I told you that we're going to have the best guest period on the show. I mean, that's just what we're going to do, over and over and over again. Thank you so much, Brian. And you see, man, it's all about community. I really respect that guy, and thank you so much, Brian, for coming through. And man, did he nail that quick scalp on AMD. Thank you for the honesty there about the share size and everything. That's what we're all about here on the show, man. We can get some good trades. Doesn't mean we're going to get them all the time. Look, we're flat out of time, so we're not going to go over my tweets. If you want to go find those, we're not going to go over my trades. But the thing is, we traded 11 symbols today. 9 and 2. If you're watching the show, go watch me live. See ya, Kat. Watch me live every single day. And Neil, 8:30, we're going to be doing it. Oh, you know what, though? First of all, shout out to the man, the myth, the legend himself. It's Bears versus Bulls. We don't do the show without this moderation, man. Before, we used to have a bunch of you-know-what in the chat. Now, get those guys out of here. Shout out to Bears vs. Bulls, the best in the business. That's for sure. Thanks, Brian. The book cover looks amazing. All right, what's up? Crypto Cockatoo right there. I have a cockapoo at home, man. Belle, love you, Belle. She's amazing, that dog, man. What a great dog. All right, Travel Buddies here. Great show. Thank you so much, man. There's Crypto Cockapoo. Wants to talk about Mark? We'll do that tomorrow. Ryan's here. What's up? Lusik, you ain't going to gift me it, but there you go. You get a shout out again. The Skip A. Yo, what's up, Lava? What's up to the MVE? What's up to Michael Lloyd? Nikki Cutlets. I love that name as well. Oh, man. Igor's here. Paulie D is here. Thank you, DJK, Tammy, KB, Derek Thompson. Everybody's here. Look, man, I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Wouldn't be able to do this without the support of all of the viewers. So thank you so much. Thank you for setting that record today. We're going to be back here tomorrow, set another one. And then Thursday, it's Apple. It's Meta. It's Amazon. You think we had some ideas today? We're going to have some for you come through that day as well. Quick check back. Go to the screen. I ain't done. 166 AMD making that move back down. Just a quick talk about the big four. Starbucks right now. Neil might not want to buy the coffee. I do. Starbucks, nice move to the upside. Google as well. I like that. We're barcoding. That's perfect. That's what we like. AMD, Google. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, my favorite. It's Mr. Softy. And Mr. Softy right now trying to bounce off 400. Again, thank you so much for watching. We're back tomorrow at 8:30. We're here. It's Trader TV Live. Thanks to Brian for that. That was huge. Thanks to Fabian for staying late. And thanks to all of you, man. Traders stay late. Use the hashtag. Go follow me at Trader TV on both Instagram and on X. Ciao.